Please like, share, and subscribe. Wishing you happiness and good luck every day.
You've heard the term crypto wallet thrown around all the time, right? It sounds pretty straightforward, but what's really inside one? I think the answer is going to surprise you. So, let me ask you something. If I asked you right now what a crypto wallet holds, you'd probably say, well, crypto. It just makes sense. But what if I told you that simple, totally logical answer is actually wrong? Okay, before we dive headfirst into the digital world, let's take a step back and start with something we all know. You know, the good old-fashioned wallet you have in your pocket or your purse.
Think about it. Your physical wallet holds physical cash. You can open it up, you can touch the bills. It's pretty simple. So it's a really easy jump to think a crypto wallet must do the same thing, just with digital money. And right there, that's the start of a huge misunderstanding.
And this is where we get to the real heart of it all. We're about to tackle one of the most common, and I mean most common, misconceptions in the entire crypto space.
This quote just nails it. The idea that all your coins are neatly tucked away inside your wallet app or that little hardware device, it feels right, it's intuitive, but it's just not how it works at all. So if your coins aren't in your wallet, then where in the world are they? All right, get ready for the big reveal. It's actually a pretty simple idea, but it's one that completely changes how you need to think about your digital assets.
Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Plain and simple. There are absolutely zero, none, zilch cryptocurrencies stored inside your crypto wallet. Not in your phone app, not on your computer, and not on that little USB-looking thing either. So here's the crucial part. Your coins never, ever leave the blockchain. You've got to think of the blockchain as this massive public digital ledger, a giant spreadsheet that everyone can see. Your crypto just exists as entries on that ledger, copied across thousands of computers all over the planet. They aren't in any one single place you can hold. Okay, so if the wallet doesn't hold the coins, what on earth does it hold? And why do we even bother calling it a wallet in the first place?
This is the wallet's real job. It's not a container for your money, it's more like a super secure digital keychain. Your crypto wallet is a piece of software that stores your digital keys, your private key and your public key. The public key is kind of like your bank account number. You can give it out to anyone so they can send you crypto. But the private key, that's like the PIN to your bank card. It proves the funds are yours and it lets you send them. You never, ever, ever share that private key with anyone.
And here's a great little fun fact for you. The mysterious creator of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, never even used the word wallet. Originally, the software was just called a client. The nickname wallet just kind of caught on because it was easy to understand, but it also created all this confusion we're talking about today. The original name client actually does a much better job of describing what it really is.
All right, so we've established that a wallet is really a secure keychain. So let's break down what it actually lets you do.
Think of it like a simple three-step process. First, your wallet securely holds onto your keys. Second, it uses those keys to connect and talk to the blockchain network. And third, that connection gives you the authorized access to interact with the funds that are tied to your address on that public ledger.
And once you've got that access, you can do all the stuff you'd expect to do. You can check your balance anytime you want, just like a banking app. You can send some crypto to a friend or receive a payment from a client. Your wallet is basically your secure remote control for your money that lives on the blockchain.
Now, this is a really important detail. When you send crypto, you're not actually moving digital files from one place to another. What you're really doing is using your private key to digitally sign a message on the blockchain that basically says, hey, I authorize reassigning ownership of these coins to this new address. This is exactly where that famous crypto saying comes from. Not your keys, not your coins. Because if you're the only one with the private key, you're the only one in control.
So, if there's one thing you take away from this, it's this. Your wallet holds the keys, not the coins. And it's those keys that control everything. Which, of course, leads us to a final, absolutely critical question. If your entire crypto life depends on those keys, how do you make sure you never, ever lose them? Well, that's a whole other can of worms. But let's just say it involves something called a seed phrase, and we'll have to tackle that another time.
Have you ever stopped to think about what a crypto wallet actually is? I mean, really, it's probably one of the most misunderstood things in all of crypto. Well, today we are going to pull back the curtain and make it all make sense. Let's dive in and figure out how these things really work using one simple analogy that I promise you will not forget. So let me start with a question for you. What is actually inside a crypto wallet? Now, if your first thought was crypto or digital money, You're with about 99% of people, but you'd also be wrong. See, the wild truth is that your crypto wallet doesn't hold your money at all. Nope, it holds something way, way more important. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll redefine what a wallet is. Think of it as a home for digital keys. Then, we're going to unpack the single best analogy for getting your head around this, an email account. From there, we'll look at public versus private keys, why protecting your private key is everything, and then we'll wrap up by seeing how all this tech plays out in a very real crisis. Okay, first big idea. I want you to completely erase the image of a leather wallet from your mind. That's not what we're talking about. A much better way to picture a crypto wallet is like a really, really secure digital keychain. It's designed for one job, holding a special set of keys. At the end of the day, a crypto wallet is just a piece of software. That's it. Its whole purpose in life is to manage your digital keys. It creates them, it stores them. We're talking about a public key and a private key. And it's those keys that actually give you access to your crypto on the blockchain, not the wallet itself. Now for the fun part. Let's get into the single most useful analogy for understanding how all this works. And I'm serious here, if you get this one idea, you'll basically understand the foundation of how crypto works. Here it is, plain and simple. Stop thinking wallet, start thinking email account. But it's a special kind of email account designed just for sending and receiving money. If you can make that little mental flip, everything else is going to click into place. And this is where that analogy really shines. Think about it. With email, you have an address that you can give to anybody, right? In crypto, that's your public key. And to actually get into your email account to send stuff, you need your secret password. Well, in crypto, that's your private key. Address and password. Public and private. See? All right, so let's zoom in on those two things, the address and the password. One is meant to be shared, and the other is the most important secret you have. So your public key is basically your crypto mailing address. Just like your email, it's completely safe to give it out. You can text it to a friend, post it on your website. You can shout it from the rooftops if you want. It's how people send crypto to you. And here's the kind of cool, nerdy detail about Bitcoin public keys specifically. They have some unique features. They always start with the number 1. They're 34 characters long, and here's the clever part. They actually leave out characters that could be easily confused, like a 0 and a capital O, or a capital I and a lowercase l, just to cut down on typos. Pretty smart, right? And now for the other piece of the puzzle, the private key. This is the big one. This is your secret password. It is the absolute cryptographic proof that you, and only you, own the crypto at your public address. This key lets you send your funds, and that's why it has to be a secret. Always. No exceptions. And just like the public keys, Bitcoin private keys also have their own little quirk. They always start with the number 5. But here's the crucial difference. You don't make this up. It's a super long, super random string of characters that your wallet software generates for you automatically the second you set it up. Okay, so this brings us to what is, without a doubt, the most critical part of all of this. Because you are the only person on Earth with the password to your money, that means you, and you alone, are responsible for keeping it safe. This quote really says it all, and you can't hear this enough. Your private keys must be secured, and you should never give it to anyone. I mean, think of it this way. It's the master key to your entire financial world. You would never, ever give that away. So, how do you actually do it? Well, the best ways are surprisingly simple and old school. First, write it down on a piece of paper. Don't save it on your computer. Second, make a couple of copies. And third, take those copies and store them somewhere safe and completely offline, where no hacker in the world could ever get to them. And here's the amazing reward for taking on that responsibility. Because your crypto isn't in the wallet, it's on the blockchain. Your private key is all that matters. So if your laptop gets stolen or your phone falls in a lake, it doesn't matter. You just get a new device, download a new wallet, punch in that secret private key you saved, and boom, all your funds are right there, safe and sound. It's ultimate control. So we've talked a lot about how this stuff works. But why? Why does this whole system of public and private keys actually matter in the real world? Well, let's look at a pretty powerful story of when these digital keys literally became a lifeline. We have to go back to Ukraine in 2014, during the Revolution of Dignity. Things were chaotic, there was a lot of violence, and protesters and injured civilians were in desperate need of help. We're talking medical supplies, food, basic aid. The need was urgent. But here was the massive problem. People all over the world wanted to donate, but the traditional banking system was just too slow. An international wire transfer could take days. Other services were blocked or restricted. Help was out there, but it was stuck. It couldn't get to the people who needed it in time. And then came this brilliantly simple solution. People on the ground started sharing their public keys. But they didn't write out the long string of characters. They just turned them into QR codes. They held them up on signs, they posted them online, and just like that, anyone, anywhere on the planet could scan the code and send a donation that would arrive almost instantly. No banks, no borders, no delays. So what happened? In just the first 24 hours, they raised the equivalent of $28,000 in Bitcoin donations. In a situation where every single second counted, this technology just leapfrogged all the old barriers and got help where it needed to go. So we end up right back where we started. A crypto wallet doesn't hold your money. It holds the keys that give you total, absolute control over your money. Now, that kind of system offers incredible freedom, incredible power. We saw that in Ukraine. But it's a two-sided coin. With that total control comes total responsibility. It all rests on your shoulders. And the final question is, are you ready for that? Let's talk about the money that's sitting in your bank account right now. You probably feel like it's yours, right? Completely under your control. But what if I told you that's not exactly the case? Today, we're diving into the crypto wallet, and it's about way more than just digital cash. It's really about a huge shift in who's actually in charge of your money. So let's just start with this big question right here. Is the money in your bank account really yours? I mean, think about it. If you needed every single cent in cash right this second, could you get it? For most of us, the answer is a surprising no. And that no is the whole reason crypto wallets even exist. So to get a handle on this new way of thinking, let's start with something we all know, a regular wallet. How does that simple idea get completely reimagined for the digital world? This slide just nails the difference. On the left, you've got the old school way, a different card for a different bank for a different currency. But then you look at the crypto wallet on the right, and it's more like a master key for your money, holding all sorts of different digital currencies in one spot. But honestly, this isn't just about making things easier. The real game changer here is all about control. And to see why, we've got to take a serious look at how little control we have in the traditional banking system we use every day. All right, let's walk through a little story here from our source material. Picture this. You deposit a good chunk of cash, let's say $20,000, into your savings account. You feel pretty good about it, right? Your money's safe and sound. But then, the very next day, you need that cash back. So you walk into the bank to get your money, and guess what they tell you? They can't give it to you. And why not? Because your money isn't just sitting in a pile with your name on it. The second you deposit it, the bank starts lending it out to make money. It's just not there on demand anymore. So getting your own money back turns into this whole process. You can see the steps here. First, you have to ask for an appointment, then you wait, for days maybe, and then you can finally get your cash. It's a pretty jarring reminder that even though it's your money, you're on their schedule, playing by their rules. Now, that exact frustration, that's what crypto wallets were designed to get rid of completely. They offer a totally different world, one where you, and only you, have full, unconditional control over your own assets. Okay, so let's flip that whole situation around. Imagine you need to send $100,000 to a friend, and it's 2 a.m. on a Saturday. With a normal bank, forget about it. You're waiting till Monday morning, best case scenario. And even then, a transfer that big is going to get flagged with questions and delays.
But with a crypto wallet, it's just done. The money moves from you to your friend directly in a matter of minutes. There are no banking hours, no holidays, and 0 people in the middle you have to ask for permission.
So this is the new set of rules. Your funds, your rules. You can get to everything you own whenever you want. You can get to all of it. There's no waiting period, and maybe most importantly, there's no third party you have to go through. This whole idea of not needing a third party, it isn't just a cool feature. It's the entire philosophy. It's the original spark that got this whole thing started. The big term for this is decentralization of ownership. And that was the whole point of Bitcoin right from the very beginning, to build a system where you just don't need to trust a third party like a bank to hold or send your money. And hey, this idea didn't just appear overnight. Groups like the Cypherpunks were actually grinding away on these concepts for more than 20 years, trying to crack this exact problem. What we see today with crypto wallets is all of that hard work finally coming to life. And here it is, the before and after laid out as simply as possible. Instead of your money going from you to the bank and then to your friend, it just goes from you straight to your friend. The middleman is just gone. So what really happens when you cut out that middleman for good? Well, you're left with this incredibly powerful idea. You actually become your own bank. Let's just sit with this for a second. Once you have access to some Bitcoins with your own wallet, you are the bank. That's the heart of it. All the power, all the control is yours. But, and this is so important, all of the responsibility that comes with it is on your shoulders now too. So what happens when millions of people all become their own bank? You might think it would be total chaos, but instead of a system that depends on a few giant companies, you get a network. And that network, according to the source material, actually creates a much stronger and more efficient marketplace for everybody. And this new marketplace is all about direct connections. We're talking person to person, business to business, person to business, all of it. Transactions are fast, they're secure, and they're controlled only by the people actually in the transaction. So we'll just leave you with the one question that all of this leads to. If you truly are your own bank, what does that change for you? How does it shift the way you think about money, about freedom, and about your own role in the economy? It's a huge question, and it's the real reason crypto wallets matter so much.
All right, so you're thinking about jumping into crypto. Awesome. But wait, where do you even start? Well, the very first thing you got to do is set up a wallet. The thing is, there are a bunch of options. Today, we're going to talk about the one almost everyone starts with, the hot wallet. It's super popular for a reason, but is it the best place to keep your crypto long-term? Let's dig in and find out.
You know that feeling, right? You've been reading about it, you've decided you're in, and you're just ready. You want to buy your first Bitcoin or a piece of it and get in the game. It's this exciting moment, kind of like standing at the starting line of a race, and it's a feeling millions of people have when they first dive into crypto. And what's kind of wild is that for most newcomers, that first step looks almost exactly the same. It's this really well-worn path, and for good reason. So we're going to walk down that common path together, and we're going to see why it's so popular, and more importantly, what really crucial details people tend to miss right at the very beginning.
So that first step, it almost always leads to what's called a hot wallet. Now, the name might not mean much to you yet, but the reason it's the go-to choice for so many people is simple. It's all about making things quick and easy.
Okay, so what is it exactly? Well, a hot wallet is basically a crypto wallet that lives online. It could be an app on your phone or a website you log into, but here's the key detail you have to remember. It is always connected to the internet, and that constant connection, it's the source of its greatest strength and its biggest weakness.
And getting started is just ridiculously easy. I mean, you go to a website like blockchain.info, which has been around forever, since 2011. You click a few buttons, fill out a quick form, connect your bank account, and boom, you're done. You can literally buy your first crypto in just a few minutes. It's this super smooth experience that makes it so attractive, right? You can go from knowing nothing to owning Bitcoin in less time than it takes to get a pizza delivered.
But, and this is a big but, all of that wonderful convenience, that amazing ease of use, it comes with a hidden price. It's a trade-off that is definitely not obvious when you're clicking sign up, but it might just be the single most important thing to understand about holding digital assets.
This quote just nails it. Hot wallet is easy to set up, but easy does not come with safety. It really gets right to the heart of the problem, doesn't it? The very thing that makes a hot wallet so tempting, how simple it is directly tied to its biggest vulnerability. And here it is, the big trade-off. Laid out plain and simple. On one side, everything a beginner could want. Super quick setup, fast access to your crypto, and hey, you can even recover your password if you forget it. Sounds great, right? But look at the other side. That's the price you pay. All that convenience is only possible because a third party, the company running the website, is the one actually in control. It's just like a regular bank. They hold your money for you, which is convenient, but it also means their vault has the giant target on its back.
And that brings us to all the risks that they don't exactly advertise on the homepage. See, when you give up that full control, you also take on all the dangers that come with trusting somebody else to keep your stuff safe.
This is one of those hard truths you just have to accept. It doesn't matter how big the company is or how much you trust them, any online service is a potential target for hackers. History is just littered with examples of even the biggest platforms getting breached. And it's so important to understand what these risks really mean. We're not just talking about your computer getting a virus. We're talking about massive platform-wide hacks. Or what if the company goes bankrupt? Or the website just freezes up right when the market is going crazy and you need to sell? All of those things are totally out of your hands. The bottom line is, when you use their platform, you're exposed to all of their risks.
Let's go back to that password recovery thing we mentioned. It sounds like a great feature, doesn't it? Who wouldn't want that? But in the world of crypto, it's actually a bug. Think about it. If the company can get you back into your account, what does that mean? It means they have a copy of your keys. And if they have your keys, then you are not the only person in control of your money. That's the whole paradox.
So all of this is leading us to the most fundamental, the most important principle in all of cryptocurrency. This is the one lesson that truly separates a casual user from someone who genuinely owns their digital assets.
It all boils down to this one powerful idea: private keys. You can think of your private key as the ultimate master password and your unique digital signature all rolled into one. It's the only thing in the universe that proves you own your crypto and gives you the ability to actually spend it. I want you to really let this sink in for a second, because it's pretty much the golden rule of crypto. When you're using a hot wallet where the company manages your account, you don't actually hold your private keys. The company does. And that means you don't really own your crypto. What you have is an IOU, a promise from that company that they're holding it for you.
So does this mean hot wallets are totally useless? No, not at all. They're actually really useful for what they were designed for, handling small amounts of crypto that you plan on spending or trading pretty often. The best way to think about it is like your physical wallet. You carry a little bit of cash around for coffee or lunch, but you don't walk around with your entire life savings in your back pocket, right? That money stays somewhere much more secure.
And that, right there, brings us to the final and most important question you should be asking yourself. Your journey into crypto might start with something easy and convenient, but real ownership starts with this thought. Now that you understand what private keys are, it's time to look at your own setup and ask, your crypto might be in a wallet, but is it truly 100% yours? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in to this explainer. All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about something that sounds, well, almost too simple for the crazy high-tech world of crypto: the paper wallet. Is it really this brilliant, totally free way to keep your crypto safe? Or is it a trap just waiting for you to fall in? Seriously, think about that. Could you really hold your entire life savings on a single piece of paper? I mean, your whole digital fortune, all of it, just printed on something you can fold up and stick in your wallet. It sounds so simple, right? But also terrifyingly risky. And that's the paradox we're going to dive into. Okay, so first things first. Let's make sure we're all on the same page. What even is a paper wallet?
Really, when you boil it all down, it's super straightforward. A paper wallet is just a physical printout of your crypto keys. You've got your public key, that's kind of like your bank account number, the one you can give out, and then you have your private key. That's the super secret password, the one you guard with your life.
And yeah, when we say paper wallet, we mean it literally. This isn't some fancy tech term. You generate the keys, you hit print, and voila, you're holding a piece of paper that holds all the power. Anyone who gets their hands on it has complete control over your funds, period.
So you can probably start to see why this was so appealing, right? For a lot of folks, this looked like the perfect answer. Let's talk about that promise, the why behind their popularity.
I mean, the appeal is obvious, isn't it? It's completely free to create one. You don't need to sign up for anything, no email, no personal info. And here's the big one: while it's offline, it's basically a fortress. It's not connected to the internet, so hackers can't touch it. You can physically hold it in your hand. It's a pretty sweet deal on the surface.
So, free, private, offline? Sounds perfect, right? The ultimate security setup. But you know how the saying goes: if it sounds too good to be true, there's always a catch. And believe me, with paper wallets, the catch is massive.
And this is where things get serious. This is the heart of the matter. We're talking about the hidden dangers, the stuff you just don't see when you hear free and easy.
Okay, get this.
The biggest trap is right at the beginning, the moment you create the wallet. So you go to some website to generate your keys. Seems fine, right? But what if that website has been hacked? A clever attacker could change the code, so instead of a random, unique key, it spits out one that they already control. And you'd never know. The second you send your crypto to that address, poof, it's gone. They can just steal it remotely, game over before you even started.
And this is a really, really important rule to understand. Think of a paper wallet as a one-way street. You put funds in, that's it. Because the moment you want to spend them, you have to bring that private key online. And once it's been online, even for a second, that wallet is toast. It's considered compromised. You can't use it again. It's a one-time use kind of deal.
You're basically fighting a war on two fronts here. You've got all the online risks, sketchy websites, malware on your computer, watching everything you type, even someone spying through your webcam. But then there's the physical world. I mean, it's a piece of paper. You could lose it, it could burn up, get soaked, or someone could just steal it. It's vulnerable in just about every way you can imagine.
So, when you stack up the pros and the cons, the pretty promises against the very real dangers, what's the final verdict? Should you use one or not?
And the source material is pretty blunt about it. It says, and I'm quoting here, because of all paper wallets rely on centralized lookups when redeeming the funds, paper wallets are not recommended because people can ruin their own privacy. So the very act of using it kind of defeats the purpose of having it for privacy.
So let's just boil it down to this. The recommendation is crystal clear. Don't use a paper wallet for any serious amount of money. Sure, maybe mess around with a few bucks for fun to see how it works, but for anything you'd be sad to lose, absolutely not. The risk just isn't worth it.
Which kind of leaves us with one last big question, doesn't it? A paper wallet doesn't cost any money, sure, but it could cost you everything else, your security, your peace of mind. It really makes you wonder, when we're talking about something this important, is free ever really free?
So when you first get into cryptocurrency, you immediately hit one of the biggest questions. Where in the world do you actually keep it? For a long time, a really popular answer was something called a desktop wallet. It sounds straightforward, right? But as we're about to find out, simple and safe are two very different things. All right, so what even is a desktop wallet? Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's just a piece of software that you download and install on your computer. But here's the absolute key, the thing you have to get. Once it's on there, that one machine, and only that machine, is what holds the keys to your crypto. And you can totally see the appeal right away, can't you? Getting started seems almost too simple. You just download the program, run the installer, and boom, you've got yourself a wallet. It was designed to feel incredibly easy. Now, this plays into a huge idea in crypto, which is self-custody. Think of your private keys as the literal keys to your own personal digital vault. With a desktop wallet, those keys live right there on your computer's hard drive. Not on some company's server, not out there in the cloud. You are in control. And for a lot of people, that sounds like the best way to do it. This idea of control always came with this kind of simple promise of security. You know, the thinking was, hey, if you just do the basic stuff, turn off your computer when you're not using it, keep your antivirus up to date, you should be just fine. Sounds pretty reasonable, doesn't it? But this is the question that just changes the entire conversation. When we're talking about your money, your hard-earned assets, is just fine really the standard you're looking for? And this is exactly where that simple, easy promise starts to completely fall apart.
This slide just lays out the trade-off perfectly. A desktop wallet's biggest strength, the very fact that everything is on your one single device, is also its greatest, most catastrophic weakness. Yeah, you're in control, but that one laptop or PC becomes a single point of failure. If a hacker gets into that one machine, your control just evaporates.
So how do the bad guys actually break in? Oh, they've got a whole playbook. It could be a sneaky phishing email that looks legit, tricking you into giving up info. It could be a virus you pick up from just visiting the wrong website. That's a drive-by download. Or it could be malware that was bundled into some file you downloaded from a torrent site. And let's be crystal clear about what's at stake here. This is not like forgetting your Netflix password where you can just click a button to reset it. Once a hacker gets their hands on your private keys, they have your funds. It's over. And there is absolutely no way to get them back. It's a one-way street, and your money is gone for good. So, because these security risks are so huge and so final, the advice you'll hear from pretty much everyone in the know is really clear. Do not use desktop wallets for storing your crypto long term. And you should definitely not be using them for large sums of money, even for a short period. The risk is just way too high. And listen, this isn't just some theory. It's exactly why we've seen this huge shift in the crypto world over the years. What used to be seen as a fun, cool new tool has really fallen out of fashion. The simple truth is most experienced people have moved on to better options. And the reason is as simple as it gets. They just are not secure enough. And all of this leads us to a pretty blunt and final verdict. When you add up all the vulnerabilities and all the risks we've just talked about, the conclusion is kind of a sweeping one, a flat-out recommendation against using any desktop wallet at all. So, really, we're left with this one last thought. We started this whole thing talking about how simple and convenient a desktop wallet is, but we ended up with a pretty serious warning about the dangers. So the question you really have to ask yourself is, when it's your money on the line, is that little bit of convenience really worth the risk? So let's talk about mobile crypto wallets. They are fantastic tools, right? They put all of your digital assets right there in your pocket, ready to go whenever you need them. But, and this is a big but, all that convenience comes with some really serious risks that most people just overlook. Today, we are going to break down the essential safety guide to make sure your crypto, well, stays your crypto. Think about that question for a second. That is the core promise of a mobile wallet. It's about turning this complex, digital thing into something as easy to use as cash. But actually making that happen and doing it safely, well, that's the real trick, isn't it? And that's exactly what we're going to tackle. All right, first things first, let's talk about the why. Why are millions of people even using these apps in the first place? It really all just boils down to one thing: making crypto a real part of your everyday life. I mean, the appeal is pretty obvious, isn't it? You can grab a coffee, pay for it with crypto. You can check your balance while you're waiting in line. It's all about having your crypto with you all the time. This is the thing that takes a digital asset from being locked away in some digital vault to being actual, usable money in your pocket. Okay, but hold on. Before you even think about transferring a single cent to a new mobile wallet, there is one step that you absolutely positively cannot skip. And I'm serious, this isn't just a friendly recommendation. This is the #1 non-negotiable rule of crypto security. Because this right here, this is the one thing that stands between a small headache and a complete financial disaster. You know that 12 or 24-word phrase you get when you set up the wallet? That's not just some password hint. That's everything. It is the master key to all your funds, and it's the only thing that can save you if your phone gets lost, stolen, or just plain breaks. So please, write it down, store it somewhere safe, and I mean physically safe offline, and never, ever, ever share it with anyone. Look, the reality here is just, it's black and white. There are two very different paths you can go down. If you have a backup, losing your phone is just an annoyance. Seriously, you get a new phone, punch in your phrase, and poof, your wallet's back, like nothing ever happened. But without that backup, that lost phone could mean your funds are just gone forever. The stakes really couldn't be any higher. All right, so you've backed up your phrase, that's fantastic. But now we need to get into the fundamental risk of using a mobile wallet every day. And it all comes down to a simple term you need to know: the hot wallet. So here's the deal. Your phone, by its very nature, is pretty much always connected to the internet, right? Well, that means your mobile wallet is what we call a hot wallet. And that constant connection is a double-edged sword. It's what makes it so convenient, but it's also the very thing that makes it so vulnerable. And we're not talking about some vague, hypothetical threats here. We're talking about real-world risks. Hackers use all sorts of sophisticated tricks to get remote access to these wallets. The source material even points to a specific, nasty bug in some older Android versions that let attackers literally record a user's screen and audio. Just imagine that. And just to be crystal clear, this isn't some theoretical problem. The source material puts it bluntly. There have been, and I quote, countless of incidents where people's mobile wallet was emptied without even the owner's knowledge. Can you even imagine that? Waking up, checking your wallet, expecting to see your balance, and instead finding zero, with absolutely no clue how it happened. That is the nightmare scenario we are here to help you avoid. Okay, I know that all sounds pretty terrifying, but it doesn't mean you should just swear off mobile wallets forever. Nope. It just means you have to be smart about it. You need a clear game plan. So let's get into the smart user's playbook. This right here is the single most important mindset shift you can make. If you take one thing away from this, let it be this. Your mobile wallet is not your bank vault. It's not your savings account. It is your pocket change for small, everyday spending. That's its job, and you should never ask it to do anything more.
So what's a safe amount? Well, the source recommends keeping no more than a few $100s on it at any given time. Think of it like the $300 rule. Just ask yourself one simple question. Would you be okay walking around with this much cash in your actual physical wallet? If the answer is no, then it's way too much for your mobile wallet. And the second rule is just as important. It's not just about the amount of money you keep in there. It's also about the amount of time it sits there. Every single second your funds are in a hot wallet is another second they're exposed to all those online threats we talked about. The goal is to make that window of exposure as small as possible.
And listen to this because it's a powerful personal strategy right from the source author. He says, I try not to keep any cryptocurrency on them, especially for longer than a day. That is the key insight. You need to think of your mobile wallet as a temporary pit stop, not a final destination. Move funds in, make your transaction, and if there's a decent amount left over, move it right back out to a safer offline wallet. Don't let it just hang around. So let's just boil this all down into a super simple 3-step safety plan. Number 1, back up your wallet the instant you create it. Write that phrase down and stick it somewhere safe and offline. Number 2, keep your balances low. Remember, it's petty cash, not your life savings. And number 3, move your funds through it quickly. It's for transacting, not for hodling. And that really brings us to the final big question you've got to ask yourself. There's no doubt that mobile wallets are incredibly convenient, but they demand your constant vigilance, your constant caution. So, is that trade-off worth it for you? For small, everyday purchases, the answer is probably yes. But for storing any kind of significant value, well, that's a risk that you now have the tools to think about properly.
If you're holding on to your crypto for the long haul, I'm guessing there's one question that's probably crossed your mind, maybe even kept you up at night. Is it actually safe? Well, today, we're going to dive into the gold standard of crypto security, a tool that's really designed to protect your digital wealth from the ground up. Let's get right into it.
So here's the game plan. First, we'll talk about why your crypto is at risk in the first place. Then we'll look at the solution, this offline vault we call a cold wallet. After that, we'll walk through this super important 24-word setup ritual, uncover the hidden dangers a device can't protect you from, and then we'll wrap up with maybe the most overlooked step of all, planning your crypto legacy.
Okay, so first things first, why do you even need this level of security? Look, it all boils down to one simple fact. Anything that's connected to the internet is a potential target. Those wallets on your phone or computer, we call them hot wallets, they're fantastic for convenience, but for serious investments, they carry some pretty serious risks.
And this, right here, really gets to the heart of it. Think about it like this. You've got the trader who needs to make lightning-fast moves. For them, the risk of an online hot wallet is just part of the game. But then you have the investor, the person playing the long game. For them, the number one priority isn't speed, it is ironclad security. And that is the exact problem cold wallets were built to solve.
So if online wallets are vulnerable, what's the alternative? Well, that brings us to the solution, the offline vault. Let's talk about the cold wallet, which you'll also hear called a hardware wallet. You can pretty much think of it as a personal fortress for your long-term crypto holdings.
The whole idea behind it is simple, but honestly, it's really powerful. A cold wallet's entire job is to keep your private keys, the secret codes that actually unlock your crypto, completely disconnected from the internet. By creating this air gap, it makes it virtually impossible for a hacker to get to your funds through some kind of online attack. Okay, but this is where one of the biggest misconceptions in crypto comes from. People see this little device, it looks kind of like a USB stick, and they just assume that's all it is. But that is fundamentally wrong, and understanding why is the key to seeing its real power.
And here is the absolute key difference. A regular USB stick, it's just a storage box. It can hold a file, sure, but it can't do anything with it. A hardware wallet is totally different. It's a tiny, specialized little computer. It can actively sign and approve your transactions inside the device itself, without ever letting your private keys touch the internet. It's not just a container, it's a gatekeeper.
Now, for what is, without a doubt, the most important part of owning one of these, the setup. Don't think of this as a chore. Think of it as a one-time security ritual that's going to secure your assets for years. Yeah, it might take you 30 or 40 minutes, but believe me, it is time well spent.
The process is really methodical.
First, you'll set a PIN right there on the device. Then, the device itself is going to generate your 24-word recovery seed. And this seed, it's everything. You have to write these words down on paper, totally offline. The device will then quiz you to make sure you wrote them down correctly. And finally, you'll update the device's software to make sure it's got all the latest security patches.
This quote right here, it really says it all. Those 24 words are your master key. They can restore your entire wallet on a brand new device if yours ever gets lost or broken. They have to be protected with absolute, total secrecy.
So let's be crystal clear on what not to do. Never, ever type these words into any computer or phone. Make sure you cover your webcam during setup. And for goodness sakes, do not email them to yourself or upload a simple photo of the full list to cloud storage. Any one of these mistakes completely defeats the entire purpose of having an offline wallet. Okay, so you've done it. You secured your crypto from online hackers. You're all good now, right? Not quite. This is the part that most tutorials and sales pages just kind of leave out. Now you have to start thinking about physical, real-world threats.
Let me just ask you this. What's your plan if the device itself is just gone? Or what if that piece of paper with your 24 words on it gets compromised? This is where your whole security strategy has to move from the digital world into the physical one.
I mean, just imagine this nightmare scenario. A burglar breaks in and finds your hardware wallet. And right there, next to it, on a piece of paper you labeled recovery sheet, are your 24 words. The thief doesn't even need your device. With that list of words, they can go steal all your funds using their own wallet.
Or how about this one? A fire or a flood destroys both your device and the only copy of your recovery sheet you ever made. In this case, your funds aren't stolen. They're just gone, forever. Locked away in a digital vault that no one, not even you, can ever open again. Okay, so how do you defend against this stuff? The plan is actually pretty straightforward, but you have to do it. First, store your device and your recovery sheet in completely separate, secure places. Second, make more than one copy of that recovery sheet. And if you want maximum security, you can even split the 24 words up, storing, say, words 1 through 12 in one location and 13 through 24 in a totally different one. All right, this brings us to our final and, maybe the most important section of all. You've protected your assets from hackers and physical disasters. But have you protected them from being lost forever in an emergency?
This quote from our source material really hits home, doesn't it? I mean, what good is saving up all this digital wealth for your family if, when a crisis hits, they have absolutely no idea how to get to it? And this is what we call the inheritance problem. See, if you create a security system that's so complicated that only you understand it, you haven't just locked out the hackers, you've also locked out the very people you were trying to protect in the first place.
So what's the solution? At the end of the day, true security isn't just about locking things down. It's about having a plan for succession. And that means creating a simple, clear, step-by-step guide for a trusted person in your life explaining what this device is, where to find the recovery seed, and how to use it if they ever need to.
So, we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. It's not just about how secure your plan is against attackers, but how clear and accessible it is for your own family. Is your crypto security plan strong enough for the people you trust to actually use it when it matters most?
So, you're jumping into crypto. Your first big decision isn't what to buy, it's where you're going to put it. Now, choosing a crypto wallet can feel, super overwhelming. But the secret isn't about the tech, it's all about your plan. Let's break it down. Right? You're ready to get started, and then bam, you're hit with this wall of options. Hot wallets, cold wallets, mobile, desktop, hardware. It's a lot. And picking the wrong one can be really frustrating or, even costly down the road. But here's the thing. The best crypto wallet isn't about the fanciest technology. It's not a technical decision, really. It's a personal one. The right choice for you depends completely on what you plan to do with your crypto. And this quote really hits the nail on the head. Before you download a single app or buy any piece of hardware, the most important thing you can do is just think about your strategy. In the world of crypto, planning ahead is everything. So to help you with that planning, we're going to walk through 5 simple but really powerful questions. Answering these is going to point you directly to the wallet, or maybe even wallets, that are the perfect fit for you. Just think of these 5 questions as your own personal roadmap. Once you answer them, you'll know exactly what kind of crypto user you are or want to be, and that's going to point you to the right tools for the job. Ultimately, these questions are going to help you figure out if you're mainly an investor, a spender, or a trader. And believe me, each one has totally different needs. So let's dive in with question number 1. First things first, what are you actually buying? Are you going to start with the original, Bitcoin? Or are you planning to dive right into the deep end with all the altcoins out there? For anyone who's a complete beginner, the advice is pretty clear. Start with Bitcoin. It has the longest track record, and it's a great way to learn the ropes. Now, it's super tempting to buy those newer, cheaper altcoins, but you have to be careful. A lot of them are unfortunately just scams designed to trick new investors. The big takeaway here? Always, always do your own research before you branch out. Okay, let's talk strategy. Are you in this for the long haul? Do you see yourself buying crypto and then just holding onto it for months, maybe even years? Well, in the crypto world, that makes you a holder. If your plan is to hodl, then security is your absolute #1 priority, period. The recommendation here is a hardware wallet, which is also called a cold wallet. And that's because it keeps your assets completely offline, totally safe from hackers. Even if you're just planning to buy a little bit each month, securing it in a hardware wallet is definitely the way to go. All right, let's switch gears a bit. These next 2 questions are all about access and activity. Maybe you're a business owner who wants to accept crypto payments. Or maybe you just want your funds to be available anytime, anywhere, right from your phone. So if that sounds like you, your needs are pretty much the opposite of a hodler. You need speed and convenience. For that, the source suggests having multiple mobile wallets, or hot wallets. So why multiple? Well, it's to make sure that if one service is down or the network is clogged up, you've always got a backup ready to go. And that brings us to our final question. This one is for the most active users out there, the traders. Are you planning to buy and sell pretty frequently, trying to take advantage of all those market swings? For traders, speed and access are everything. You absolutely cannot afford to be locked out of the market when prices are moving fast. And that's why the recommendation isn't just multiple wallets, but wallets on multiple different trading platforms. To really understand why this is so critical, you've got to hear this story. See, the author of our source material learned this lesson the hard way. And it's a perfect, almost painful example of why planning, especially if you're a trader, is so important. So picture this. It's the perfect moment for a trader, a dream scenario. There's a massive price drop. Bitcoin absolutely plummets from $9,000 all the way down to $4,000. This is that classic buy the dip opportunity everyone talks about. He saw the price, he was ready to buy, but there was a huge problem. The massive surge in traffic from literally everyone else trying to do the exact same thing crashed all the major platforms. Kraken, Coinbase, blockchain.info, all of them, totally unreachable. To make things even worse, he was traveling at the time. So between a taxi ride to the airport and then a 3-hour flight, a total of 4 hours passed before he could finally get online and find a platform that was actually working. And in those 4 hours, the opportunity just vanished. The price had already bounced all the way back up to $6,000. A potentially massive gain was missed, all because he couldn't get to his funds when he needed them most. So what's the lesson here? It's pretty simple. Be prepared before you need to act. That means registering on multiple platforms so you always have a backup. And just as important, you have to complete that identity verification process, you'll see it called KYC, on all of them way ahead of time. This isn't something you can do in the heat of the moment. It can sometimes take 4 or more business days. And that story, really, it brings everything full circle. Being prepared and choosing the right tools isn't just about making things easy. It's about being able to actually execute your plan when it really, really matters. So here's the most important point. Your crypto plan is everything. Before you start worrying about which brand of wallet to get, you have to be crystal clear on your own goals. Are you a long-term investor, a daily spender, or an active trader? Your answer to that question is your guide to everything else. And that is the bottom line. Stop looking for the one best wallet out there. It doesn't exist. Instead, focus on finding the right tool for your specific job. That is how you choose with confidence and set yourself up for success right from day one. Choosing your wallet, that's your foundational first step. By asking these questions, you've already built a plan. And trust me, that puts you way ahead of the curve. You've picked your tool. The only question now is, what are you going to build with it? Thanks for watching.
So, you ready to dive into the world of crypto?
Awesome. The very first thing you need is a wallet. Think of it as your own personal digital vault. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through step by step how to set one up and, more importantly, how to keep it secure.
Look, you don't have to take my word for it. Our source material puts it pretty bluntly. This is the #1 recommendation for a first wallet. And by the way, a hot wallet is just a fancy term for a crypto wallet that's connected to the internet. It makes it super convenient for everyday stuff. So let's unpack why this one gets such high praise for newcomers.
Here's our game plan. First, we'll cover why this specific wallet. Then, we're going to breeze through the setup. It literally takes 2 minutes. After that, we'll get into the most crucial part, security. Then, we'll get you mobile. And finally, we'll take a tour of your new command center.
All right, so let's tackle that first big question. Out of all the choices out there, why start here? Well, for someone just getting their feet wet, it really comes down to a couple of key things.
It really just boils down to trust and ease of access. You know, this wallet has been around for a long time in the crypto space, which gives it a solid track record. Its popularity means it's a really reliable place to start. And since it's available pretty much everywhere, it's a great global starting line for your crypto journey.
Now for the fun part, the setup itself. And trust me, you are going to be shocked at just how fast you can go from having nothing to having a fully functional crypto wallet.
Honestly, this process couldn't be more simple. You just head over to the website, click on Wallet, then sign up. All it needs is an email and a password. Make sure it's a strong one, and you click Continue. That's it, you're in.
Okay, I need you to pause and give me your full attention here. This is without a doubt the most important part of this entire guide. We're talking about security, and this is how you make sure your crypto stays your crypto. This slide, this really gets to the core of what crypto is all about. It's called self-custody. See, unlike a bank, you and only you are in control. There's no 1-800 number to call if you mess up. It's your money, and that means it is 100% your responsibility to keep it safe.
So, the very first thing you should do before anything else is go straight to your security settings and turn on two-step verification. That's a huge layer of protection. Next, and this is the big one, you have to back up your recovery phrase. Think of this as your master key. It's a special set of 12 words that can bring your entire wallet back to life if you ever lose your password or your computer dies.
Now, I cannot stress this enough. Physically write these 12 words down on a piece of paper with a pen. Do not take a screenshot. Do not save it in a notes app or a text file on your computer. Why? Because anything digital can be hacked. Write it down and then hide that piece of paper somewhere incredibly safe where no one else will find it.
Okay, deep breath. The super serious part is over. Now that your wallet is locked down and secure, let's make it easy to use. It's time to connect it to your smartphone so you've got your wallet on the go.
The best way to think about this is that you have two parts of the same system. The online wallet, the one in your web browser, that's your main command center. It's where you control all the settings. The mobile app, on the other hand, is like your handy remote control for sending and receiving crypto when you're out and about.
Pairing them is actually pretty cool. First, just download the official app for your phone. Then, hop back over to your online wallet, go into the general settings, and look for Show Pairing Code. A unique QR code will pop up on your screen. Just open the mobile app, point your phone's camera at the code, and bam, they're instantly paired.
And just like that, you are fully set up. For this last section, let's take a quick look around your new dashboard. Welcome to your mission control.
This is where the magic happens. Your dashboard gives you that quick, at-a-glance view of your total balance and what's been going on. You can click into each specific crypto to see its own transaction history. The buy and sell button? That's your bridge to regular money, what's called fiat currency like dollars or euros. And the exchange tab lets you swap one kind of crypto for another, all without ever leaving your wallet.
And there you have it. It's done. You officially have a working, secure crypto wallet. You've taken that essential first step, and you are now totally equipped to send, receive, and manage your own digital assets.
So that's it. You've officially entered the arena. But think of this wallet as your launch pad, not the destination. You're in the game now. The only question left is, what are you going to explore next?
Have you ever wished you could manage your crypto without being chained to your desk? I mean, what if your entire wallet could just live securely right in your pocket? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today, how to take your crypto mobile. And that's the big question, right? Your assets are on your computer, but your life happens on the move. So how do you bridge that gap? How do you get that same level of control, securely and efficiently, no matter where you are? Well, the solution we're going to dig into is the blockchain.info mobile wallet. It's a tool that's been specifically designed to pair up with the account you already have online, giving you full secure control right from your phone. So let's see how this thing actually works. Okay, here's what we've got on tap. First, we'll talk about why you'd even want your crypto on the go. Then, we're going to walk through the setup step by step. After that, we'll manage some transactions, peek at the advanced settings, and wrap up with the most important part, locking down your wallet. So, first things first. Let's talk about the main benefit here. Because this isn't just about downloading another app. It's about getting a whole new level of freedom with your digital money. And this is the real game changer. Just imagine needing to send a quick payment while you're out with friends. Or maybe you just want to check your balance without having to boot up your whole computer. That's the kind of control and convenience we're talking about. True mobile access. All right, theory is great, but let's get practical. Let's roll up our sleeves. This next part is all about the how. Installing the app, and most importantly, getting it paired securely with your main wallet. So here's the 10,000-foot view of the whole process. We find the app, we install it, we log in to connect it to our account, scan a special code to link them up, and then set a PIN. Don't worry, we'll break it all down, but it really is that straightforward. Now, before we go any further, I have to stop and really emphasize this. This is absolutely critical. The crypto world, as you know, can have some shady characters. So when you're in the App Store, please triple check that you are downloading the official app from blockchain. Your security literally starts with this first step. Okay, once you open that official app, you're going to see two big options. And this is a really important choice. Create Wallet is for somebody who's starting from zero, completely fresh. But since we're connecting to a wallet we already have on our desktop, we are definitely choosing Login. This is how we pair them, not start over. So how does this login magic happen? Well, you'll need to hop on your computer for a second. Go into your online wallet settings, find the option that says Show Pairing Code, and click it. That's going to generate a unique QR code right there on your screen. You can think of this code as the secure digital handshake between your desktop wallet and your new mobile app. And when you scan that code with your phone, the app begins to synchronize. So what's actually happening? It's basically securely pulling all your wallet's data, your balance, your transaction history, everything onto your phone. And when it's done, your computer and your phone are perfectly in sync, showing the exact same information. And boom, just like that, you're all set up. Your wallet is now officially mobile. So now, let's see how this thing works day to day and turn this app into your go-to tool for managing transactions. You know, one of the most useful features is just how it shows your transaction history. It's not just a list of crypto amounts, it actually shows you the value in your local currency, like dollars or euros. And you can add your own notes, lunch with friends or payment for that project, which is awesome for actually keeping track of where your money is going. So a quick glance is great for daily stuff, but crypto is built on verification. It's built on trust. So what if you need absolute proof that a transaction has been processed and confirmed on the actual blockchain? How do you really know? Well, the app has a pretty brilliant answer for that. For any transaction in your history, you can tap a little link that says verify on blockchain.info, and this is the key difference. It's not just the app telling you the transaction is done, it's you seeing it for yourself on the public ledger. And you get everything. You'll see the exact from and to addresses, all the technical data like the transaction size, the inputs, the outputs, even more geeky script details if you want them. It is the ultimate source of truth for your transaction history. So what about sending crypto? The app makes it incredibly simple. Right from the dashboard, you can either paste in the recipient's long address or, and this is way better, just use the built-in scanner to grab their QR code. It's fast, and it pretty much eliminates any risk of making a typo. Okay, so we've covered the daily driver stuff, but there's actually a lot more power under the hood here. Let's take a quick look at some of the advanced features that let you really customize your mobile wallet experience. If you dive into the menu, you'll find some really powerful options. You can actually exchange different kinds of crypto right inside the app. You can set your preferred local currency for display, and this is a big one. You can confirm that your wallet backup is complete. You can even import other external addresses that you might own. And that brings us to our final, and you could argue, most important section, security. You've got this powerful tool in your pocket now. Let's make sure it is locked down tight. Think of this as your final mission-critical checklist. 4 simple but really powerful steps. First, you already set your PIN. Make it a good one, not 1, 2, 3, 4. Second, Enable two-step verification for an extra layer of protection. Third, we just mentioned it, but I'm going to say it again. Please check that your backup status says complete. And finally, you'll notice the app disables screenshots by default. That's a security feature, not a bug, so it's best to just leave it that way.
And that's really it. If you've followed these steps, you've successfully transformed your whole crypto experience. You've gone from being tethered to a desktop to having a secure, capable, and really convenient wallet right there on your phone. So, that just leaves us with one final thought. You now hold the power to manage your digital assets from pretty much anywhere. That barrier of having to be at your computer, it's gone. So the question is no longer how, but what's next? What are you going to do with this new freedom?
So, you've been hearing all this buzz about crypto and you're thinking, how do I even start? Well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to set up your very first crypto wallet on Coinbase, which is one of the most popular, beginner-friendly platforms out there.
Look, our goal here is super simple. By the end of this quick explainer, you're going to have your very own secure and functional crypto wallet. So let's just dive in and get it done.
Okay, first things first. Before we jump into creating anything, what is Coinbase exactly? Let's quickly break down what we're working with here and who it's really built for. At its heart, Coinbase is all about being simple. Think of it as one of the most established and user-friendly online exchanges around. It was built specifically for the everyday person who just wants to buy, sell, or maybe just store some digital assets without needing a finance degree to figure it all out. And you should know this isn't some brand new fly-by-night operation. Coinbase has been around since 2011. That makes it practically a dinosaur in the crypto world. It's accessible pretty much anywhere on the globe, supports all the major cryptocurrencies, and get this, it's even backed by heavy hitters like the New York Stock Exchange. That tells you a lot about its credibility.
Now here's a pretty cool feature. Coinbase also runs a professional trading platform called GDAX. While Coinbase is perfect for your day-to-day buying and selling, GDAX is for the more advanced crowd, people who want lower fees and more complicated trading options. But here's the best part. The Coinbase login you're about to create automatically works for GDAX too. So you've got a built-in upgrade path if you ever decide you want to get more serious about trading.
All right, enough of the backstory. Let's get to the action. It is time to actually create your account.
Honestly, this part is ridiculously easy. You just head over to the website, fill in your name, email, and a really strong password, and then you click Create. That's it. But hold on. Before you do anything else, we need to talk about the single most important step in this whole process. So, you've got the account. Great. Now we have to lock it down. We have to make it secure. And trust me, this step is absolutely crucial for protecting your digital assets.
And I'm not kidding. I cannot stress this enough. Before you buy anything, before you transfer anything, before you even look at the price charts again, you have to set up your security. This part is completely non-negotiable.
You need to enable two-factor authentication, or 2FA. In the world of crypto, security is everything because hacks are a very real risk, and 2FA is your best line of defense. So, in your account settings, just go to the Security tab and add your phone number. From that point on, Coinbase will send a unique code to your phone whenever you try to log in, making it incredibly difficult for anyone else to get access to your funds.
Okay, now that your account is safe and sound, we can finally take a tour. Let's get you familiar with your new digital headquarters for managing all your crypto. The wallet is organized into 4 main areas that make it really easy to manage everything. We're going to take a quick look at each one: the dashboard, the buy/sell section, accounts, and tools. First up is your dashboard. Think of this as your mission control. It's the first thing you see when you log in, giving you that instant at-a-glance overview of what crypto prices are doing and how your portfolio is looking. Next is the Buy/Sell tab, and this is where the action happens. It's your personal marketplace, and it's designed to be super straightforward for when you're ready to buy your first digital asset or sell some of your holdings. The Accounts tab is where you'll find your digital vaults. Each different cryptocurrency you own gets its own secure wallet right here. So if you've got some Bitcoin and some Ethereum, you can easily check the balance and the history for each one separately. It keeps things nice and organized. And finally, the Tools section offers some more advanced features. Here, you can look at your complete transaction history or even create new wallet addresses. Think of an address like a one-time use email for receiving funds. Using a new one for each transaction can be a great way to protect your privacy. It's a really powerful feature that's still easy to navigate. So we've created the account, we secured it, and we've toured the platform.
What does all this actually mean for you right now?
What you've just done is you've opened a door. You now have a secure, powerful, and user-friendly hub to manage your own digital assets. You're no longer on the sidelines. You're equipped and ready to participate. And that's it. Your wallet is all set up, it's secure, and the foundation is built. You're ready to go. So the only question left is, what are you going to explore first?
All right, let's do something super practical today. We are going to get you set up with your very own Coinbase wallet. If you've ever wanted to manage your own crypto right from your phone, this is for you. I'm going to walk you through every single step, so let's dive in. So, are you ready for this? The ability to manage your digital assets right there in the palm of your hand. That's exactly what this wallet gives you. And you know what? The whole process is way more straightforward than you might think. We'll start at the very beginning, just getting the app. Okay, so our journey starts with the first, and honestly, the easiest part, actually getting the app. So go ahead, grab your phone, and let's head over to the Google Play Store to download your new digital wallet. See? This slide breaks it down into 4 simple taps. First, just pop open your Google Play Store. Then, in the search bar, type in Coinbase Wallet. Just make sure you're grabbing the official one. Hit Install, let it do its thing for a second, and then tap Open. Just like that, you're on to the next and most crucial step. All right, so the app is installed. Now we're moving on to the most important part of this whole thing. And I mean it, setting up your account and more importantly, making sure it is secure. Think of this like getting the keys to your new digital vault. Now, the app is going to give you 2 paths. If you're totally new to Coinbase, you'll just tap sign up to create a brand new account. But hey, if you already use Coinbase's exchange, for example, you can simply tap login with your existing email and password. Once you've picked your path, we'll get to locking it down. Okay, just take a breath here. The very next thing you're about to do is one of the most important actions you can take to protect your assets. This is not just a formality. Think of it as your digital bodyguard. So let's talk about 2-step verification. It might sound a little technical, but the idea is actually super simple. It's all about proving it's really you. When you try to log in, the wallet will send a unique code to your phone. This means that even if someone somehow stole your password, they still couldn't get into your account without physically having your phone. It is an absolutely essential layer of defense. And as you can see, turning this on is so easy. Your phone is going to get a text message with a code. All you have to do is type that code into the app and tap Verify. With that one simple action, you've just made your wallet dramatically more secure. And just like that, you're in. Congratulations! You are now officially inside your new, fully configured Coinbase wallet. The setup is totally done, and you're ready to start exploring. So let's see what you can do. So what are your new superpowers? Well, for starters, you can tap on any cryptocurrency and see its price in real time. But more importantly, you now have the power to buy and sell digital assets right from the app itself. It's all here in this really clean, user-friendly experience that's designed to make crypto feel intuitive. You know, this quote really says it all. You're not just carrying around an app. You're carrying a fully functional, secure account right there in your pocket. This is the whole idea behind self-custody, having true ownership of your assets, that freedom and control. That's exactly why we just went through these steps. And that's pretty much it. Your wallet is installed, it's secured, and it's ready for action. We finished the setup, but your journey into self-custody is really just beginning. So the only question left is, what's your first move going to be? All right, let's talk about a problem that pretty much everyone in crypto runs into at some point. Trying to find one simple, secure wallet that can handle all your different coins without making you pull your hair out. Does this feel familiar? I bet it does. You know how it is. You buy some Bitcoin, so boom, you need a Bitcoin wallet. Then you decide to get some Ethereum, and yep, that's another app you've got to download. Before you know it, your phone is just a chaotic mess of different apps just to manage your stuff. It's a total headache, right? But what if you could just have one single app to handle all that chaos? To put everything in one neat, tidy place? Well, that's exactly the problem a wallet called Jaxx Liberty is trying to solve. So what exactly is Jaxx Liberty? You might actually remember it by its old name, which was just Jaxx. It's one of the most popular wallets out there for a really simple reason. It's a multi-currency wallet. Think of it like a universal remote for your crypto. It's designed to make sending, receiving, and just managing your whole portfolio way, way simpler. So, what's the big promise here?
What makes Jax so attractive, especially if you're just starting out or you're just sick and tired of juggling a million different apps? Let's break it down. First off, the sheer number of coins it supports is huge. We're not just talking about the big players like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Jax supports a massive list of coins, including privacy-focused ones like Zcash and Monero, and honestly, a bunch of cryptocurrencies you've probably never even heard of before. And that brings us to this number 8. Now, what's that all about? It's not the number of coins it supports. That number is much, much higher. No, this represents something else that's just as impressive. 8 is the number of different platforms Jax is available on, and this is a massive part of its appeal. It doesn't matter if you're on a Windows PC, a Mac, a Linux machine, your Android phone, or your iPhone. Heck, you can even use it as a browser extension on Chrome or Firefox. It's everywhere. And the best part is, it automatically syncs across all of them so your portfolio is always up to date no matter which device you pick up. And it's not just about being on all your devices. The whole experience is built for simplicity. The user interface gets a lot of praise for being super intuitive and easy to figure out. That's a huge plus if you're not a super technical person, you know? It just works. Okay, so far it sounds pretty fantastic, right? But to get the full picture, we have to talk about the caveats. Look, no software is perfect, and Jax definitely has a few important trade-offs you need to know about. It's really a balancing act, you see. On the one hand, you get that incredible coin support, it works on pretty much any platform, and it's really easy to use. But the trade-offs are real. The source material notes that it can be slow at times, which kind of makes sense when it's struggling so many currencies. Also, and this is a big one for the security buffs, it's not open source software. But there's one more limitation that's probably the most important of all. And here it is, the crucial point. Jax is just a wallet for crypto you already own. You cannot buy crypto with a credit card or a bank transfer from inside the app. You have to go buy your coins on an exchange, like Coinbase, for example, and then send them over to your Jax wallet to store them. Now, if that limitation isn't a deal breaker for you, then the good news is that getting started is ridiculously fast. Seriously, we're talking about going from download to having your wallet ready in less than a minute. And here's something that anyone who cares about privacy is going to love. You don't need an email address. You don't have to fill out any annoying registration forms. Nope. You just download the app and you're good to go. The whole process is dead simple. You just go to the official site, jax.io, and grab the app for your device. Then you open it up, choose Create a New Wallet, and pick the Express setup for the quickest start. From there, you just check the boxes for the coins you want to manage. Bitcoin, Litecoin, you name it. And click Take Me to My Wallets. And that's it. You're done. So after weighing the good, the bad, and the super simple setup, what's the final verdict? Who is Jax Liberty really built for? When you boil it all down, Jax Liberty really shines for a specific person, someone who has already bought their crypto and is now just looking for a simple, convenient, all-in-one place to manage it. If you value convenience above all else and want one app that just works across all your devices, it's a fantastic choice. And hey, that's not just my take. The source material we're looking at ends with a very clear thumbs up saying, quote, I do recommend JX to anyone as it's a great wallet that supports many cryptocurrencies on the most popular platforms. Can't get much clearer than that. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. When it comes to a simple crypto wallet, what do you value more? Is it the pure convenience of an all-in-one app, or is it having every single feature under the sun, even if it adds a lot of complexity? For Jax Liberty, the answer is definitely convenience first. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey everyone! So you're looking to get the Jax mobile crypto wallet set up on your device? Perfect! We're going to make this super quick and easy. This is all about getting that crypto control right in the palm of your hand. Let's dive in.
So, are you ready to get this thing on your phone? Awesome, because that's exactly what we're doing, and it'll only take a couple of minutes. Let's get right to it.
Okay, this first part is a total piece of cake. Seriously, just 4 quick steps. First up, you're going to open the Google Play Store. Then, in the search bar, just type in JAXX Blockchain Wallet. Once you find it, tap Install. And finally, after it does its thing and downloads, just click Open. See? Easy.
Okay, so when you first open the app, it might take a second or two to get going, so just give it a beat, no big deal. Once it loads up, you'll see a Continue button. Go ahead and click that.
All right, here's your first major choice. The app's going to ask you, do you want to pair an existing device or create a totally new wallet? This is a key step, so let's make sure you pick the right one.
For pretty much everyone starting fresh here, the answer is a no-brainer. You're going to want to hit Create New Wallet. That's the right choice if you're setting this up for the first time on your phone, which is what most of us are doing.
Okay, now we get to the fun part, actually customizing your wallet. This is where you get to pick and choose exactly which cryptocurrencies you want to work with inside the app.
So you'll see this whole list pop up with all kinds of cryptocurrencies. Of course, you've got the big ones like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Dash, and a bunch of others too. Just scroll through and tap on all the ones you're interested in activating.
All right, once you've picked out all the coins you want for now, just look for that button at the bottom. It says, Take me to my wallet. Go ahead and give that a tap.
And this is pretty cool. The second you hit that button, Jax gets to work in the background. It's actually building the individual wallet interfaces for every single crypto you just chose. It's basically tailoring the app just for you.
And that's literally it. You're in. Like the source material says. And that's it. You have all the wallets you have chosen. How easy was that? It's all set up and ready to go. Oh, and here's a quick tip. Don't stress if you think you missed one or you want to add another coin later. It's super flexible. Just like with the desktop version, you can always go back and add more wallets anytime, so you're not locked into these choices at all. So there you have it. In just a few minutes, your first Jax wallets are installed, customized, and good to go. Now the only real question is, what are you going to add next? Thanks for following along, and enjoy your new wallet.
All right, let's talk crypto wallets. If you're managing multiple cryptocurrencies, you know the headache of trying to keep track of a different wallet for every single coin. Well, today, we're diving into a really popular solution that's designed to make all of that a whole lot simpler. The Exodus wallet. Let's find out what it's all about.
Yeah, seriously. Does this feel familiar? You've got one wallet for your Bitcoin, then another one for your Ethereum, and maybe a few more for all those other altcoins you've picked up. Suddenly, you're just drowning in passwords and private keys. It gets messy and fast. So what's the solution? How do you keep it all straight without pulling your hair out?
Well, this is exactly where a wallet like Exodus comes into the picture. It's built to tackle that precise problem. Think of it as your all-in-one hub, a one-stop shop for holding, managing, and even swapping all your different digital coins from one single, super clean interface.
Okay, so let's get down to basics. What exactly is Exodus? Well, it falls into a specific category, and understanding what that means is super important because it really explains its biggest strengths and its trade-offs.
Exodus is what we call a hot wallet. And all that really means is it's software that lives on your device and is connected to the internet. The whole point of this design is convenience and speed. It's awesome for daily use and frequent trading. But there's a flip side. It's not going to give you that Fort Knox level of security that you'd get from an offline cold wallet, which is better for, stashing large amounts away for the long term.
The whole philosophy behind this wallet is just making things easy. First off, it's totally free to download, and you don't need to give up any personal info or go through some lengthy registration. It's just download and go. This super user-friendly approach, plus the fact it supports so many different currencies, makes it a fantastic starting point for beginners. But honestly, even experienced users love it just for how convenient it is.
And when we talk about convenience, we've got to talk about speed. Because this thing is fast. If you put it up against other similar wallets, like Jax for example, Exodus has a huge advantage when it comes to performance. And what that means for you is just a way smoother, way less frustrating experience when you're actually managing your assets.
So, we know it's fast and user-friendly, but what can you actually do with the Exodus wallet? Let's get into its key features.
For starters, just look at this number. As of November 2020, Exodus supported 124 different cryptocurrencies. That is a massive range, giving you the flexibility to manage a really diverse portfolio all in one place without having to constantly switch between different apps.
And we're not just talking about obscure coins here. It supports all the heavy hitters, Bitcoin and Ethereum, plus a huge variety of other popular tokens, like Dash, Golem, and many, many others. And that list is always growing.
Accessibility is another major plus. Exodus has desktop apps for all the major operating systems, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. So no matter what your setup is, you can get it installed and running in just minutes. Now let's circle back to security. Since it is a hot wallet, it is always connected to the internet. But for its category, Exodus provides really solid security features. Most importantly, it gives you full control over your private keys and has simple backup and recovery options so you can restore your funds if something ever happens to your device. That's crucial.
Now this next part is maybe one of its most powerful features, the built-in exchange. This lets you swap one cryptocurrency for another right there inside the wallet. No need to send your funds off to some external exchange.
The process itself is incredibly simple, but here's the crucial point. You have to fund it first. You can't buy crypto with regular money, like US dollars, directly in the wallet. You send some Bitcoin or another coin to your Exodus address, and from there, you can easily swap it for any of the other supported assets.
So putting it all together, how do you decide if Exodus is the right fit for you and your crypto strategy? Let's break down the main points.
So on one hand, you have an incredibly smooth, fast, and private experience with a top-notch interface. On the other hand, you have the things to think about that come with any hot wallet. It's online, and you need crypto to start swapping. This makes it a fantastic choice for active users, traders, and really anyone who values convenience and design. It's maybe not where you lock away a huge investment for years, but for everyday use, it's pretty great.
And that really brings us to the final question you should ask yourself. What do you value most? Is it the seamless ease of use for frequent transactions? Is it the number of different coins it supports? Or is it maximum offline security above everything else? Thinking about your own priorities, that's the best way to choose the perfect wallet for your crypto journey.
All right, let's talk about something real. We're going to dig into what it's actually like to take full control of your crypto. We're following one person's brutally honest story of buying, waiting for, and setting up one of the most popular hardware wallets out there, the Trezor. Let's get into it. I mean, this is the question, isn't it? It's the one that probably keeps you up at night if you hold any crypto. You see those numbers on your screen, but are they really, truly yours? Are they safe? It's that nagging feeling that pushes people to find a better way. And that's exactly where today's source comes in. This isn't some shiny advertisement. It's a personal journey, warts and all. It's about the gap between wanting security and the messy reality of getting it. And trust me, there are some surprising bumps in the road. Now, to get why someone would go through all this trouble, you have to understand this one key difference. Hot wallets, they're online, super convenient for day-to-day stuff, but they're always exposed. Cold wallets, on the other hand, are totally offline, locked away from any online threats. Our guy was moving his funds from a hot wallet to a cold one for that one big reason, security. So, the solution he picked was the Trezor. It's pretty much billed as one of the best and most secure options you can get. Your own personal offline fortress for all your digital money. So what is this thing really? Well, a hardware wallet is just a small physical device, kind of looks like a USB stick with a little screen. Its entire job, its only job, is to keep your private keys completely and totally offline. That's what cold storage is all about. And here's where it gets really smart. It's all about layers of security. Keeping your keys offline is the main fortress wall. But then you have the offline screen, which means you confirm transactions on a device that a hacker literally can't see. The open source code means anyone can check it for flaws, which builds trust. And that recovery seed, that's your ultimate insurance policy if you ever lose the device. Okay, so the Trezor sounds great in theory, but buying the fortress, well, that turned out to be a whole other story. And this is where we get a major warning for anyone thinking about getting one. It all started right here. Back in 2015, the price on the website was 79 euros. Seems pretty straightforward, right? You see a price, you expect to pay it. But then he gets to the checkout page, and bam. First, an extra 26 euros for a cable and some fast shipping. A little annoying, sure. But the real shocker was the 21% value-added tax, the VAT, that just appeared out of nowhere, tacking on another 25 bucks. And there you have it. That 79 euro device suddenly ballooned to over 135 euros. I mean, that's a massive 70% increase over the price he thought he was paying. You can just imagine the sticker shock. And his first reaction was raw, you know? It was that immediate gut feeling when you see a bill that's way higher than you expected. His first thought was just, they are scammers. It's that feeling of being tricked. But, and this is a really important but, after he cooled off, he gives this crucial piece of advice. Trezor isn't a scam. The issue is just that the company is based in the Czech Republic. So if you're ordering from another country, you're probably going to get hit with that tax. It's not a sinky trick, it's just how international shipping works. Oh, and the fun didn't stop with the price. He paid extra for that 3 to 5 day DHL delivery because he wanted his security and he wanted it now. But 6 days go by. Nothing. So he sends an email, and the reply he gets back is just, wow. There was a 6-week backlog before they even started shipping. The faster shipping only kicked in after that huge wait. In the end, it took 5 weeks for the thing to show up. So after weeks and weeks of waiting, the device is finally here. And now comes the most important part of the whole journey, the setup. This is the moment you stop just owning crypto and start truly controlling it. The process itself is pretty guided. You download an extension for your browser, you follow the instructions on the screen, you set a PIN, and then you get to the most critical part. Carefully, and I mean carefully, writing down your recovery phrase. The author really drives home the point of reading the manual cover to cover. And this right here, this tells you everything. His recommendation is not to rush this. Don't do it while you're watching TV or answering emails. Set aside a solid chunk of uninterrupted time, at least 3 hours, just to really truly understand what you're doing. Why 3 hours? For this. This is the single biggest mindset shift you have to make. When you use a hardware wallet, you're cutting out the middleman completely. There is no 1-800 number to call if you screw up. You are in total control. You are the bank. And that's the trade-off. Full control means full responsibility. That 3-hour setup isn't a chore. It's you, as the new manager of your own bank, learning the security procedures for your own vault. It's all on you now. So after all that, the surprise costs, the shipping nightmare, the intense setup, what's the final verdict? Amazingly, the author still calls the Trezor a must-have wallet. So for this last part, let's just quickly look at the options. At the time this was written, the original Trezor 1 had actually come down in price to under 60 euros. The newer, fancier touchscreen Model T was a lot more, almost 180 euros. And if you're feeling really fancy, there was a metallic version for a whopping 600 euros. So where do you actually buy one? Well, you've got two main choices. The official site is your most direct and secure option, but you have to keep those shipping times and potential taxes in mind. Amazon is the other route. You might get it faster, but as the author points out, they're often sold out or you end up with resellers charging way more. And all of this brings us to the final big question. This whole story shows us that taking true ownership of your assets isn't just a simple click-to-buy process. It comes with hidden costs, frustrating delays, and a learning curve where all the responsibility falls on your shoulders. So the real question isn't just about the money. It's about the effort. Is the price of becoming your own bank, in every single sense of the phrase, worth paying?
All right, let's talk about one of the most important decisions you'll make as a crypto owner, picking the right hardware wallet. Today, we're putting two of the biggest names head-to-head, the Trezor 1 and the Trezor Model T, to help you figure out which one is the absolute best fit for protecting your digital assets.
So let me ask you this. You own crypto, sure, but do you really, truly control it? It's a huge question. Because, when your coins are sitting on an exchange, you're basically just trusting someone else with your keys. Hardware wallets like Trezor, they put you back in the driver's seat. So let's find the right device to make sure you stay in control.
So, let's meet the family. In one corner, we have the Trezor 1. Think of it as the original, the reliable, battle-tested workhorse. And in the other corner, we have the Trezor Model T, the sleek, next-generation tool. Both of them come from Satoshi Labs, a company with a stellar reputation, but they're built for slightly different people. Let's see how they really stack up.
Okay, so right off the bat, you can see the big hardware differences. The Trezor 1 is straightforward. 2 physical buttons and that older micro USB port. The Model T, on the other hand, well, it's got a full-color touchscreen, a modern USB-C port, and even an SD card slot for future upgrades. Now, both support over 1,000 coins, but the Model T does have compatibility with a few extra ones.
Now, let's really dive into the single biggest difference between these two, the input method. You might think a touchscreen is just about making things easier, a nice little convenience, but it actually has a huge impact on the security of your wallet.
The Trezor 1's 2-button system is totally functional, and look, it's been proven secure for years, no doubt about it. But the Model T's touchscreen does more than just make it easier to type in your PIN. It offers a really crucial security upgrade, especially when you're first setting things up.
Which brings up a great question, right? How in the world can a screen, something we usually just think of as being for convenience, actually make a hardware wallet safer? Well, it all comes down to protecting the most important secret you have, your recovery seed.
And this, right here, is where the Model T just pulls ahead.
See, with a lot of hardware wallets, you have to type your recovery seed using your computer's keyboard. The problem? That potentially exposes it to any nasty keylogging malware that might be hiding on your machine. But with the Model T, you enter the entire seed directly on its touchscreen. What does that mean? It means your master key never ever touches your computer. It never goes online. It's completely isolated from threats right from the very start. That's a game changer.
But hang on, while the Model T has that awesome advantage during setup, I really want to make this clear. The Trezor One is still an incredibly secure device. Let's talk about the powerful security features that both of these models share at their core.
The list of shared security features is just, well, it's impressive. Both have PIN code protection, both offer an advanced passphrase option, which is basically like a secret 25th word for your recovery seed, adding a whole other layer of defense. They can both act as a U2F device for two-factor authentication on sites like Google or Dropbox. And they both use what's called a hierarchical deterministic recovery seed. All that fancy term means is that one single seed, one master key, can generate a nearly infinite number of private keys for all your different cryptocurrencies. It keeps everything neat and incredibly secure. And hey, don't just take my word for it. One of our sources puts it perfectly. When you use them correctly, the fundamental security in both the Trezor One and the Model T is designed to protect you from basically any type of hacking out there. So that should give you a ton of confidence, no matter which one you're leaning towards.
And just so we're all on the same page, let's quickly hammer home why this recovery seed is so important. Think of it as the one and only master key to your entire digital vault. With that simple list of words, you can get all of your crypto back, even if your Trezor is lost, stolen, or completely destroyed. Seriously, protecting that seed is job number one.
Okay, so we've established that both of these devices are fantastic for securing your crypto today. But what about tomorrow? What about next year? Technology moves fast, and this is another area where the Model T was really designed to be a step ahead. Let's look at the hardware upgrades that make it a more, let's say, future-proof choice.
The Model T packs a faster processor, which just makes the whole experience feel smoother and quicker. It's got that USB-C connector, so it plays nice with all our modern computers and Android phones. But honestly, the most interesting feature when you're thinking about the future is that little micro SD card slot.
Yeah, that SD card slot, it opens up a whole world of possibilities. It's not just for extra storage. It's paving the way for some really advanced features down the line. Imagine being able to sign transactions without ever plugging your device into a computer, or using the card for encrypted password storage. It just goes to show that the Model T was built from the ground up to evolve and adapt.
So, we've looked at security, we've looked at usability, and we've talked about future-proofing. Now it's time for the final decision. Let's bring it all together and figure out which one of these guardians is the right choice for your digital wealth.
Honestly, your choice really just boils down to your priorities. Are you looking for proven, top-notch security on a budget? Is this your first step into taking control of your own keys? Then the Trezor One is an absolutely outstanding choice. It's a classic for a reason, but if you prioritize the absolute best usability, you want that extra layer of security during setup, and you're protecting some serious holdings, then the future-proof hardware of the Model T makes it the clear winner. So, at the end of the day, it often just comes down to the scale of what you're protecting. If you've got a significant portfolio, the added security and modern touches of the Model T are, in my opinion, easily worth the upgrade. But for anyone just starting out or with smaller holdings, the Trezor One is still a fantastic, reliable, and time-tested choice that will serve you well.
Look, either of these devices is a massive, massive leap in security compared to just leaving your assets on an exchange. They put the power and the control back in your hands. So the real question you have to ask yourself is, your digital wealth deserves a fortress. Which one are you going to build?
So you did it. You got your brand new Trezor Model T, and you're ready to finally take control of your crypto security. That's awesome. Look, in the next few minutes, we're going to walk through the entire setup step by step. And I promise, by the end of this, you'll feel like a pro, using your new wallet with total confidence. So let's just dive right in.
But hang on, before we even start, let me give you a quick pro tip. The little USB cable that comes in the box, well, it's kind of short, like really short. You might want to just grab a longer one for a few bucks. It'll just make your life a whole lot easier. Trust me on that. Okay, let's get to the fun part. We're kicking things off right from the very beginning, getting that Trezor out of the box and plugged into your computer for the first time. Go ahead and grab that cable, whether it's the short one or a longer one, and plug your Trezor in. You should see a nice little welcome screen pop up on the device itself. Now, on your computer, open up a browser and head over to trezor.io/start.
Once that page loads, just pick the Trezor Model T and you're on your way. But wait, stop. Before you click anything else, this is your first and, honestly, your most important security check. Take a close look at the USB port on the Trezor. It should have a special hologram sticker right over it. If that seal looks weird, if it's broken, or if it's just not there, do not use the device. Seriously, that little sticker is your proof that nobody has messed with it. All right, with that physical check out of the way, it's time to build the digital side of things. We're about to install the firmware. You can think of that as the Trezor's brain, and then we'll create your brand new, super secure crypto wallet. The website really holds your hand here. It's super easy. First, click Install Firmware. It'll take maybe 15-20 seconds. You'll see it doing its thing on both your computer and the Trezor. After it reboots, you'll click Create Wallet, and then you'll want to pick the standard option, Create with Single Backup. Then look down at your Trezor. It's going to ask you to tap a checkmark to confirm. And just like that, you've seen the hardware security in action for the first time. Okay, deep breath. I need you to really, really focus for the next couple of minutes. This is, without a doubt, the single most important part of this whole setup. We're about to create your recovery seed, and this is literally the master key to your entire crypto kingdom. Everything hinges on this. So, what even is a recovery seed? It's just a list of 12 simple words. But think of it like this. If you ever lose your Trezor or get stolen or you run it over with your car, these 12 words are the only way you can get all of your crypto back. It's your ultimate safety net. I really can't say this enough, so I'll just use their words. You have to guard this phrase with your life. And the number one rule of doing that is to never, ever, ever create a digital copy of it. Not ever. You know, this is how people get their crypto stolen. They take a picture of the words with their phone, they email it to themselves, they save it in a text file on their desktop, or even in a password manager. Any of those things puts it on a device that's connected to the internet, and that makes it a target for hackers. This has to stay in the physical world. Pen and paper only. Okay, so on your Trezor, you're going to tap I understand. Now the device itself is going to show you your 12 words, one after the other. Grab that little paper booklet that came in the box and very carefully write down every single word. Double check the spelling, make sure they're in the right order. After you're done, the Trezor is going to quiz you. It'll ask you to confirm a few of the words just to make sure you wrote them down correctly. Pretty clever, right? And boom, you did it. The most important step is officially over. Your wallet is now backed up. So now you just have to take that little piece of paper and hide it somewhere really, really safe. So now that we've got the ultimate backup plan sorted, it's time to set up your daily defense. This is your PIN code, and it's what stops somebody from just picking up your Trezor and getting into your accounts. And it's really crucial to know the difference here. That 12-word seed, that's for a total disaster, like if you lose the device. The PIN, on the other hand, is just what you'll punch in every day to unlock the device for normal use. They have two totally different jobs. This part's a breeze. Your Trezor will ask if you want to set a PIN. Tap yes, then just type in your new PIN twice to make sure you got it right. Then comes the fun part. You get to name your device. Call it whatever you want. Just type the name on your computer, and then you'll confirm it on the Trezor screen. And you gotta love this. Once you confirm the name, the website pops up with this message. You choose a wonderful name. It's just a small human touch that I think is pretty cool. We are on the home stretch, folks. We're just going to click through the last couple of steps, and then we'll cover the very first thing you're probably going to want to do, which is safely receive some crypto. Okay, the website's going to ask you to bookmark the page. Now, I know this sounds like a tiny little thing you could probably just skip, but let me ask you, why is this one simple click actually a huge deal for your security? The answer is all about defeating phishing scams. See, hackers love to make fake websites that look exactly like the real Trezor site, hoping you'll type in your password or seed phrase. But if you use a bookmark, you know you are always, 100% of the time, going to the real legit site. So yeah, go ahead and hit Control+D or Command+D and make that bookmark. After that, it'll ask for your email. That's totally optional. You can skip it. Then just click Finish, and that is it. Your Trezor Model T is set up, secure, and ready for action. Now, to get some coins on here, you'll click the Receive tab, then Show Full Address. And this next part, this is the whole magic of a hardware wallet. The address shows up on your computer screen, right? But it also shows up on your Trezor's screen. All you have to do is look at both and confirm that long string of characters is a perfect match. That's how you know a hacker isn't tricking you. If they match, just tap confirm on the Trezor. And here's a cool little fact that trips up a lot of new users. Once you've used an address, meaning once you've received some crypto to it, then next time you go to receive more, Trezor is going to give you a totally new address. Don't panic, this is actually a good thing. It's a privacy feature that makes it way harder for people to track your activity on the blockchain. And there you have it. You've done it all. You've navigated the setup, you've secured your all-important recovery seed, and you know how to safely send and receive. Your digital assets are now locked down tight. So the only question left is, what are you going to build with them? Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today is all about taking back control of your crypto security. We're going to walk through step by step how to set up the KeepKey hardware wallet. This is how you build a real digital fortress for your assets. So let's jump right in. First things first, I want you to really think about this question. Where are your private keys right now? Seriously, are they sitting on an exchange? Maybe in a software wallet on your computer or your phone? Because where those keys live, well, that determines everything about how safe your crypto actually is. And that question gets right to the heart of the matter. It highlights the fundamental problem we all face with digital keys. Look, it's pretty simple. If your private keys are on any device that's connected to the internet, they are vulnerable. That's just a fact. The only real solution is to create what we call cold storage, taking them completely offline. And that, my friends, is exactly what a hardware wallet is for. So with that, let's introduce the star of today's explainer, the KeepKey hardware wallet. I want you to think of this little device as your own personal offline guardian for your digital wealth. So what does it actually do? It's honestly pretty brilliant in its simplicity. The KeepKey is basically a tiny, specialized computer with one mission and one mission only: to generate your private keys, lock them away securely, and handle signing transactions, all without ever, and I mean ever, letting those keys get anywhere near the internet. And you know what's really great? How accessible this level of security is. The KeepKey is made by Shapeshift, and it retails for just $49. That is such a small price to pay for this kind of serious peace of mind. But don't let that price fool you. This thing is an absolute workhorse. It supports the big players, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, but also a huge range of ERC20 tokens. So it doesn't matter if you're all in on Bitcoin or you're deep in the weeds with DeFi, the KeepKey has almost certainly got you covered. And if there's one sentence that sums up the entire security promise of this device, it's this one right here. Your private keys are born on the device, they live on the device, and they die on the device. They are never exposed to your computer or the web. That is the bedrock of its security. All right, time to roll up our sleeves and build your fortress. And I want you to think of this setup process as more than just a technical checklist. This is the moment you take true, direct ownership of your assets. Okay, first things first, we've got to get the device updated. So you'll plug it in and run the KeepKey Updater program. This is just going to update the firmware and the bootloader. That's the core software that keeps it secure. You'll see a prompt, you press and hold the button on the device to confirm you want to do it, and then you just unplug it and plug it back in. Super simple. Okay, once that update's done, now the fun part starts. This is where you really make it yours. You'll pair the device with your computer. You can give it a cool name, the Vault or My Crypto Fortress, whatever you want. And then you'll set up your two most important security layers, your PIN and that all-important recovery phrase. Okay, you have to see how clever this PIN system is. On your computer screen, you'll just see a blank grid, but on the KeepKey's little screen, the numbers 1 through 9 pop up in a totally random, scrambled order. So you look at the number's position on your device, and then you click the matching spot on your computer. Because it's scrambled every single time, any key logging malware on your computer has no idea what your PIN actually is. It's brilliant. Now I need you to listen really carefully. This is the most critical step in the entire process. The device is going to give you a 12-word recovery phrase. This is the master key to everything. If you lose your key, if it gets stolen, if you smash it with a hammer, these 12 words are the only way to get your crypto back. So write them down on paper, never, ever, ever store them digitally, and put that piece of paper somewhere incredibly safe. All right, the fortress is built, the walls are up. So now what? How does it actually protect you when you're using it day to day? Like when you want to send some crypto? It all comes down to something called a limited protocol. Now, that sounds technical, but here's all it means. Your computer can talk to the key, but it can only ask it to do very specific things, like, hey, can you please sign this transaction? It can never ask, hey, can you tell me the private key? That key is locked in a vault, and it's not coming out. So let's say you want to send some crypto. You'll set up the transaction on your computer like you normally would. But here's the magic. Nothing happens yet. You have to pick up your Keep key, look at its big, clear screen, and confirm that the address and the amount are exactly right. Only when you are 100% sure do you physically press the button on top to give it the final approval. You are the final manual checkpoint. So let's just step back and look at the layers of defense you've just built. You've got private keys that are always offline. You've got a scrambled PIN system that makes keyloggers useless. You've got that big screen so you can't get tricked into signing the wrong thing. And you have that manual physical button press for every single transaction. It's a fantastic, multi-layered security system. So what does all this boil down to? What's the big takeaway here? It's simple. By going through this setup, you have fundamentally changed your relationship with your crypto. You don't have to trust anyone else anymore, because now you hold the keys. I want you to think back to that very first question I asked at the beginning. Where were your keys then versus where are they now? You've done it. You have successfully moved them out of a vulnerable online world and locked them inside a personal offline fortress that only you can control. And that leaves us with one final and I think really exciting thought. Your assets are now truly secure and truly yours. So the question is no longer, are my funds safe? The real question is, what are you going to do next on your crypto journey? All right, let's talk about something super important if you're serious about crypto, keeping it safe. Today, we're going to take a look at a little device that's basically the gold standard for securing your digital assets, the Ledger Nano. Let's find out why it's got that reputation. It's a really simple question, but it's a big one. You've put your time, your money, your energy into building up your crypto portfolio. But have you really thought about how to protect it? That's the problem we're going to tackle right now. So look, when you first get into crypto, you probably start with what's called a hot wallet. I mean, they're easy, they're convenient, a lot of them are free. But that convenience, it comes with a pretty big risk we need to talk about. So what is a hot wallet? Basically, it's any crypto wallet that lives on your computer or your phone, and it's always online. Think of it like your actual physical wallet. You keep some cash in it for day-to-day stuff. It's convenient, yeah, but you wouldn't walk around with your life savings in there, right? That constant internet connection is its biggest weakness. Okay, so how much should you really keep in one of these things? The general rule of thumb is to treat it like pocket money. Keeping around $100 in a hot wallet is a pretty safe bet. That way, if something goes wrong, you're not out a ton of money. Now, while it's true that hackers probably won't go after a wallet with less than $500, that does not mean it's totally safe. The real takeaway here is this. Don't keep any more in a hot wallet than you're okay with losing, period. For your serious investments, you need a much more serious solution. All right, so that's the problem. And that's where this other kind of wallet comes into the picture. If a hot wallet is the risk, then the Ledger Nano, well, that's the solution. Let's see how. Right, so the Ledger Nano is what we call a cold wallet. And if the hot wallet is your pocket cash, this is your bank vault. It's literally a physical device, kind of like a USB stick, that stores your private keys completely offline. And if your keys aren't online, hackers can't get to them. It's really that simple. Look, there are a bunch of different hardware wallets out there, for sure. But the Ledger Nano? It just keeps coming up as one of the absolute best. So what's the big deal? What makes it so special? Let's get into it. So why all the praise? It really boils down to three key things that make the Ledger Nano a cut above the rest. It really comes down to these three things. First, it supports a ton of different coins. Second, the user guides are fantastic, which is great for beginners. And third, this thing is built like a tank. Let's break each of those down. First off, the sheer number of coins it supports is just huge. We're talking all the big ones like Bitcoin and Ethereum, but also a massive list of smaller coins. This is a big deal, right? Because it means you don't need a whole bunch of different wallets. You can keep your whole portfolio safe in one spot. And number two, it's actually super easy to use, especially if you're just starting out. The Ledger website is packed with guides and tutorials for literally everything. How to set it up, how to send your Bitcoin, how to restore it if you need to. They've really made security accessible for everyone. And then there's this, the durability. This is kind of legendary. I mean, the source tells this amazing story where someone actually tested Ledger's claim that you could run over the device with a car. So they took their fiat, drove right over it, and the ledger still worked. That's not just tough, that's almost indestructible. All right, so maybe you're convinced the case for getting a ledger is pretty solid. But if you're thinking about buying one, what are your options? Let's talk about the nuts and bolts of actually choosing one and getting it in your hands. So, you basically have two main choices. There's the Ledger Nano S, which is their original bestseller from way back in 2014. That one's $69. Then you've got the newer, fancier Nano X, which will set you back about $119. So, which one do you pick? So, what's the call? Well, the recommendation is pretty straightforward. Stick with the original Ledger Nano S. For the main job of keeping your cryptos safe and sound, it does everything you need it to do, and it saves you $50 in the process. And getting one is super simple. You just go to their official website, pick your model, and check out like you would on any other site. And get this, you can actually pay with Bitcoin. How cool is that? It just shows they really get their customers. But here's a heads up, and it's a big one. You've got to be patient. Because these things are in such high demand, the author mentioned waiting anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks for it to show up. So you'll want to plan ahead. Now, if you're in a huge rush, you could check Amazon. You might get lucky and get it faster. But, and this is a big but, you're probably going to pay more, and there's no guarantee it'll even be in stock. Going directly to Ledger seems like the most reliable way to go. So, after going through all that, what's the final word? Let's just wrap this all up with the ultimate takeaway on the Ledger Nano. You know, this quote from the source just nails it. It's not just about the Ledger being a good gadget, it's about the fact that you have to have a cold wallet if you're serious about this stuff. And for that one crucial job, the Ledger Nano S is, well, just perfect. And just to give you a feel for where it sits in the market, the Nano S is in this perfect sweet spot. It's cheaper than its bigger brother, the Nano X, and its main rival, the Trezor, but it's a clear step up in quality from the less expensive options like the Keep Key. So let's end on this thought. You wouldn't leave thousands of dollars in cash just sitting out on your desk, right? You'd lock it up in a safe. As your crypto portfolio gets bigger, you have to treat its security the same way. It's not just a good idea, it's absolutely essential. All right, so you've just got your hands on a brand new Ledger Nano S. That's awesome. Let's get it set up. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through, step by step, how to turn this little device into your own personal crypto fortress. We're talking about putting you in complete, secure control of your assets. And you know, this isn't just some tech setup. It's not like plugging in a new mouse. This is a huge deal. This is the exact moment you take real ownership of your crypto. So, you ready to take control? Let's dive in and make sure we get it done perfectly. Okay, here's the plan. First, we'll cover the basics. Then we'll get hands-on with the device. After that, we'll hit the most important security step. Then it's on to connecting with Ledger Live, installing some apps, and boom, you're ready. See? Simple, manageable steps. Let's do it. All right, section 1, the plan. Let's kick things off by looking at the official roadmap straight from Ledger. So Ledger basically breaks it down into 4 main things you got to do. First, get the software. Second, lock down the device itself with a PIN and that all-important recovery phrase. Third, install the apps for your coins. And fourth, add your account so you can actually manage your crypto. We're going to walk through every single one of these in detail. Let's get started. Okay, section 2, device first steps. So at this point, you should have already gone to the official Ledger website and downloaded the Ledger Live software. If you haven't, pause and do that now. For everyone else, it's time to plug in that device and get our hands dirty. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is how simple this thing is. Just 2 buttons, that's it. You use the right one to go forward, the left one to go back. Super intuitive. And when you want to select something, you just press both buttons at the same time. Easy, right? It's a clever little system, so just play around with it for a second to get the hang of it. All right, go ahead and plug in the device with a USB cable. You'll see a welcome message pop up on the screen. Now, just use that right button to cycle through until you see Set up as a new device. Got it? Cool. Press both buttons to select it. From here, it's going to walk you through choosing your PIN code. This is your first line of defense, so pick something good and confirm it. Okay, let's move on to section 3, your 24-word master key. Now listen, if you've been multitasking, I need you to stop, put your phone down. This is, and I am not exaggerating, the single most important step in this whole entire process. Get this right, and you're golden. So what is this recovery phrase anyway? Well, first off, let's be super clear. It is not a password. Think of it as the master key to your entire crypto kingdom. It's your one and only backup. If you lose your device, if it gets stolen, if you run it over with your car, it doesn't matter. These 24 words are how you get all of your funds back. Everything. So, right after you set your PIN, your ledger is going to start showing you 24 words, one after the other. Your only job right now is to very, very carefully write these down and make sure your copy is 100% perfect. And hey, this isn't just me saying this. This is a direct warning from Ledger themselves. Keeping these words safe and secret is on you. It's your responsibility and nobody else's. To make this crystal clear, here are the absolute do's and don'ts. Do, write the words down on the paper recovery sheet that came in the box. Do store that sheet somewhere super secure and, importantly, offline, like a safe. Now for the don'ts. Do not take a photo of it. Do not type it into your computer or phone. Do not save it in a password manager. And for the love of crypto, do not share it with anyone, ever. Okay, once you've written down all 24 words, the device is actually going to quiz you. It's pretty smart. It'll ask you to confirm a few of the words to make sure you wrote them down correctly. You'll have to scroll through and pick the right word. Look, I know it feels a little tedious, but trust me, it's an absolutely essential check to make sure your backup is perfect. All right, section 4. You made it through the hardest part. Your device's core security is now set. So what's next? It's time for what I like to call the digital handshake, connecting your device to the Ledger Live software on your computer. So inside the Ledger Live app, you're going to see a little security checklist. When you get to the part that says Genuine Check, go ahead and click Check Now on your computer screen. That's going to send a prompt over to your Ledger device. You'll need to unlock it with your PIN and then press both buttons to allow Ledger Manager to connect. And once you give it the OK on the device, the software will give you the green light and confirm device is genuine. This is a really important security step, making sure you don't have a counterfeit device. After that's done, you can go ahead and set an optional password for the Ledger Live app itself, just for an extra layer of privacy on your computer. Okay, section 5, installing crypto apps. Awesome. Your device is secure, it's verified, it's basically an empty, high-security vault. Now we need to customize it. For every different crypto you want to manage, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever, you need to install its own little app inside the vault. Now, one thing to keep in mind with the Nano S is that it has limited storage space. You can usually fit about 3 to 6 apps on there at a time. But, and this is super important, don't panic if you run out of space. Your coins are not stored in the apps. They're on the blockchain, tied to your 24-word recovery phrase. So you can safely uninstall an app and reinstall it later without ever losing your funds. It's just like deleting an app from your phone. So for every crypto you want to add, it's basically a 2-part process. Step 1, you go into the Manager tab in Ledger Live, find the crypto you want from the app catalog, and click Install. That puts the app on your little device. Step 2, after it's installed, you click Add Account. This creates the actual account in the software so you can see your balance and stuff. You'll have to confirm it on your ledger, let it synchronize with the blockchain, and that's it. Your account is ready to go. And just like that, we're at our final section. With that first account added, your device is now officially ready for action. Seriously, congratulations! You've successfully navigated the entire setup. Let's just take a second to recap everything you just did. You initialized your ledger, you set a secure PIN, you backed up that incredibly important 24-word recovery phrase, you verified the device is genuine, you even installed your first crypto app and added an account. You literally took this thing from a plain old box to a fully configured, super secure hardware wallet. Well done. So yeah, your crypto is now truly secure. You've taken this massive step to protect your digital assets. The real power is officially in your hands now, not on some exchange. So I guess the only question left to ask is, what are you going to do with it?
So you've got the box in your hands, your brand new Ledger Nano X. Awesome! In this explainer, we're going to go from zero to hero, taking you step by step from unboxing to securing your very first crypto. Let's make sure it's truly 100% yours.
Now, that might sound a little dramatic, but it's the honest-to-God truth. See, when your crypto is sitting on an exchange, you're basically just trusting them with your keys. They have the final say. Setting up this device right here, this is you taking back control. It's the moment you achieve self-custody and become the true owner of your assets. First things first, what exactly is this little thing? Well, you should think of the Ledger Nano X less like a gadget and more like your own personal, offline digital vault.
Its one and only job is to guard your private keys and keep them completely disconnected from the internet and all the dangers that come with it.
Now, if you've ever seen the older Nano S, you'll immediately see the Nano X is a massive upgrade. Yeah, it has a bigger screen and way better buttons, but the real game changer, it's the app capacity. The old one could maybe hold 3 or 4 apps at a time, which was a real pain. The Nano X, it can hold over 100. Huge difference.
Okay, before we even dream of plugging this in, we need to talk security. These first few checks are your absolute first line of defense, and getting them right is non-negotiable.
There are 3 golden rules here. 1. Always, and I mean always, buy your ledger straight from their official website. 2. Never, ever, ever buy a used or secondhand device. You just don't know if it's been messed with. And 3. Take a good, hard look at the box. If that plastic wrap looks torn, opened, or resealed in any way, stop. Don't go any further, just contact Ledger support right away.
All right, with the physical inspection out of the way, it's time to forge the digital keys to your brand new vault. Seriously, pay attention here because this is the most important part of the entire process, setting your PIN code and most importantly, your 24-word recovery phrase. Go ahead and plug the device into your computer. It'll light up and ask you to set it up as a new device. You'll use the 2 buttons on top to navigate, left and right to go through the numbers, and then you press both down at the same time to select a digit. You'll need to create a PIN between 4 and 8 digits, and then you'll enter it a second time just to confirm.
In a moment, the device is going to give you a 24-word recovery phrase. And I really want this quote to sink in, because it's the absolute truth. This is the most important thing, because this is your final backup. Let me be clear. This phrase is your crypto. If you lose it, it's gone.
So listen up. Follow these rules like your life depends on it. Write down every single word and make sure they're in the exact right order. Don't take a picture of it, don't type it into your computer or notes app, and never, ever share it with anyone. That little piece of paper is now your master key. Store it somewhere safe, secure, and completely offline.
Okay, deep breath. The hard part is over. Your device is secure. Now it's time to connect it to its command center, the Ledger Live application. This is the software that lets you see and manage all your assets, while your keys stay tucked away safely on the hardware device. First thing you need to do is head over to ledger.com and make sure you're on the official site and download the Ledger Live software. Once that's installed, open it up and click Get Started. You'll want to select Initialize as New Device, and then just pick the Ledger Nano X from the list. The app is really good at holding your hand and guiding you from there.
Now, Ledger Live is going to ask you a really important question. This isn't just a formality, it's a deep security check that uses some pretty clever crypto magic to make sure your hardware is legit and hasn't been compromised. So what's actually happening here? Well, when you click Check Now in the app and approve it on your device, it's like sending a secret challenge to Ledger's secure servers. They check the cryptographic signature of your hardware, and if it all checks out, you get the green light. It's confirmation that your device is 100% authentic. Okay, we're making progress. Your device is genuine, it's all set up, and now it's time to actually load it up so you can use it. This next part is where a lot of people get tripped up, so let's break it down. The difference between an app and an account. So, an app. Think of an app like a piece of translator software. To manage Bitcoin, you need to install the Bitcoin app on your ledger. To manage Ethereum, you need the Ethereum app. It's the specific software on the device that knows how to speak the language of that particular blockchain. An account, on the other hand, is your actual public address on that blockchain. It's like your unique mailbox. The app on your device generates it securely, but you manage it through the Ledger Live software. This is the address you'll give out to actually receive coins. So just remember, it's always a simple 2-step process. Step 1. Go to the Manager tab in Ledger Live and install the app for whatever crypto you want, like Bitcoin. Step 2. Go to the Accounts tab and click Add Account to create your public address for that crypto. You need both to get going.
All right, we are in the home stretch. This is the final and, let's be honest, the most exciting step. The app is installed, the account is created. Now, let's get you a secure receiving address so you can finally move your crypto into your shiny new vault.
Inside Ledger Live, just click on the account you just made and hit the Receive button. The software will then prompt you to open that same app on your physical Ledger device. Now, this next part is a super important security check, so pay close attention. Okay, so Ledger Live is now showing you a receiving address right there on your computer screen. But wait, stop. Don't copy it just yet. There's a small chance your computer could be infected with malware that swaps out that address for a hacker's.
This is exactly why you bought a hardware wallet. Now look down at the screen of your Ledger Nano X. It's showing you the exact same address. And because your device is secure and offline, you can trust what you see on its little screen. So you're going to carefully compare the address on the device with the one on your computer. If they match, you are good to go.
Once you have physically, with your own two eyes, verified that the addresses are identical, you'll approve it on your device. Now, you can safely copy the address from Ledger Live. This is the address you can paste into an exchange or give to a friend to send you crypto with total confidence.
And that's it. You did it. You've successfully set up your device, you've secured your all-important backup phrase, and you've verified your first receiving address. Your digital vault is officially locked down, secure, and ready for action. So the only question left is, what are you going to put in it?
All right, let's talk about something that can be a little nerve-wracking, even for folks who've been in crypto for a while: updating your Ledger Nano hardware wallet. It's something you got to do for security, so let's walk through it together and make it totally stress-free. You know that feeling, right? You click update, you see that little spinning wheel, and your stomach just drops for a second. Now imagine that feeling, but multiplied by 1,000 because it's your crypto on the line. Yeah, if you felt that, you are definitely not alone. And look, this isn't just a random fear. This quote gets right to the heart of it. People update their device, they log back in, and they see a zero balance. It is terrifying. But here's the good news. Most of the time, it's actually a normal part of the process. We're going to break down exactly why that happens and how to make sure everything comes back safe and sound. Okay, stop. Before you even open the Ledger Live app, before you click a single button, we need to talk about the single most important thing in this entire universe of self-custody. You absolutely, positively must have your recovery phrase. Think of your recovery phrase as the one and only master key to your entire crypto vault. It's not on your computer, it's not stored inside the ledger itself, it's that 24-word phrase you wrote down on paper when you first set everything up. If the update fails, if your device gets run over by a track, this phrase is your ultimate safety net. With it, your crypto is always, always recoverable. You are going to see this exact sentence on your screen in a few minutes. And let me be clear, this is not just some "I agree to the terms and conditions" box you tick without thinking. This is a dead serious security check. So right now, before you do anything else, physically go and find your written down recovery phrase. Have it in your hand. Don't even think about continuing until you do. All right, you got your recovery phrase? You're sure? Okay, good. Now that we've got that critical piece sorted, let's dive into the process, starting with the easy part. This is just a simple warm-up, updating the Ledger Live software on your computer. No stress here. So, just pop open Ledger Live. You'll almost certainly see a big blue banner right at the top telling you there's a new version. All you do is click Download Now, wait for it to finish, and that button will magically turn into Install Now. The app will close, restart, and then you just pop in your password like you always do. And that's it. Software's updated. See? Easy. Okay, the warm-up is over. Software's done. Now it's time for the main event: updating the firmware on your actual physical Ledger Nano device. This is the part where you'll want to pay close attention. First things first, plug your Ledger into your computer and unlock it with your PIN code. Now, inside Ledger Live, look on the left-hand side for the tab that says Manager. Click that. And just like before, you should see a banner up top, but this one is specifically about updating your device's firmware. Go ahead and click that Update Firmware button. And there it is, the moment of truth. The software is stopping you and asking you to confirm that you have that master key. Remember what we talked about? This is the point of no return. Only check this box when you are 100% sure you know where that physical piece of paper is. Once you've ticked it, click Continue. Now this next part is actually a pretty clever security check. After the software does its thing for a minute, your physical Ledger device is going to light up and show you an identifier code. Your job is to look at the code on that little screen, then look at the code on your computer monitor and make sure they match perfectly. This is how you know your device is talking to the real Ledger Live. Once you've confirmed they match, you can proceed. Okay, listen up, because this is probably the most delicate moment of the whole process. Your device is now in something called bootloader mode. You can think of it like its brain is open for surgery. Whatever you do, do not unplug it right now. That could seriously mess things up. Just let it be, let it do its thing, and wait for it to finish. So, the firmware update finishes. Success! You unlock your device, you go to look at your accounts, and your heart sinks. The balance is zero. This right here is that moment of sheer panic we mentioned at the start. But please don't worry, this is totally expected. Let's solve this little mystery.
Okay, take a deep breath. Here's what just happened. To keep things secure, the firmware update basically wipes all the individual apps from your device. The Bitcoin app, the Ethereum app, all of them. But, and this is the key part, it does not touch your crypto. Your coins were never really on the device anyway. They are safe and sound on the blockchain, tied forever to your recovery phrase.
So, how do we get everything back? It's actually super simple. First, you head back to that Manager tab and just reinstall the apps you need. Then, and this is the magic step, you have to add your accounts back. Go to the Accounts section, click Add Account, pick your crypto, say Bitcoin, and just follow the steps. Your device will then sync up with the blockchain and pull all of your balance information right back into Ledger Live.
And just like that, there's the aha moment, that feeling of relief. You go from that terrifying zero balance to seeing all of your funds reappear exactly as they should be. Your crypto was never gone, not for a second. You just needed to tell your device how to see it again.
You know, this whole process, it does more than just update your device. It's actually a fantastic real-world lesson in the most important principle of crypto, self-custody. So let's talk about the golden rule that this whole experience really highlights.
At its core, it's this idea that you are your own bank. It sounds cool, right? But what does it really mean? It means you have total sovereign control over your money. No one can freeze it, no one can take it. But that freedom comes with total, absolute responsibility. You are the only one who can protect it. The device could fail, the update could glitch, but as long as you have that master key, your recovery phrase, you are always in control.
So let's boil it all down to the absolute must-knows. If something goes wrong and your device breaks, Ledger can send you a new piece of plastic. Great, but they can never, ever, under any circumstances, get your crypto back for you. Only a recovery phrase can do that. So keep it safe, keep it offline, and always, always double-check what you're doing. And that brings us to the final, and really the only question that matters. The update is done. You've handled the tech side perfectly. But the real work of security isn't just a one-time thing. It's about making sure that master key is safe, today, tomorrow, and for years to come. So I'll just leave you with this one thought. Is your recovery phrase truly safe?
If you're in a crypto, then you have absolutely heard of Ledger and Trezor. I mean, they're the giants, right? The go-to names for hardware wallets. But here's a thought. What if the absolute best, most perfect guardian for your digital assets isn't one of those two? Well, today we're going to look beyond the big names and explore the really cool world of alternative hardware wallets.
Seriously, I want you to keep this question in mind as we go through this, because the market out there is just packed with all these innovative new devices, and each one has a totally unique idea about what it means to protect your crypto. The perfect wallet for you might be one that's not even on your radar yet. You know, every single hardware wallet in existence is built around this one fundamental trade-off. It's this constant push and pull, this balancing act between making a device absolutely bulletproof secure and making it something that's actually easy and intuitive to use. And this one conflict, it shapes every single design choice they make. And these two devices, they show you the two extremes perfectly. Over on one side, you've got the NGARA0. This thing is a literal fortress. It's completely air-gapped, meaning it never ever connects to the internet. It only talks to the outside world using QR codes, so zero risk of online attacks. Then on the other end, you had something like the Ledger Blue, which was all about a simple, user-friendly experience with its giant touchscreen.
And Ngrav, they take this whole fortress idea all the way, even to its backup system. They give you what they call an everlasting backup. So instead of writing your recovery phrase on a flimsy piece of paper, you actually engrave it into these fire-resistant, water-resistant sheets of stainless steel. It's just a fantastic example of what that extreme security end of the spectrum really looks like.
Okay, so keeping that big conflict, security versus convenience, in mind, let's take a little tour. We're going to check out some of the most innovative and specialized wallets on the market. You'll see how different companies have tackled that challenge with some seriously creative solutions.
First up, for those who want to keep things on the down low, we have wallets built for discretion. The Bitbox O2 is perfect for this. It just looks like a normal little thumb drive, and its screen is totally invisible until you turn it on. And then you've got the Cool Wallet S, which is wild. It's the exact size and shape of a credit card. You can literally just slide it into your wallet and nobody would have a clue it's holding your crypto.
Now, what if you're always on the move? Well, the Cool Wallet S isn't just discreet, it's also waterproof and connects via Bluetooth, so you can manage your funds from your phone wherever you are. Then there are the SecuX wallets. These things have a built-in battery, which is a total game changer, because it means you don't even need a computer to sign your transactions.
All right, for those of you who want that fortress level of security, we're back to air-gapped devices. Remember, that means they never physically connect to your computer with a wire or Bluetooth. This keeps your private keys totally isolated. So, wallets like the SafePal S1, which is backed by Binance, use a tiny built-in camera to scan QR codes for transactions. The Kobo Vault does something similar, but adds extra layers like a fingerprint sensor and a waterproof body.
So, what about wallets for the real specialists, the power users? The Cold Card is an absolute legend in the Bitcoin world. Yeah, it looks like a calculator from the 80s, but it is an open source beast packed with advanced features like decoy wallets. The Bitbox O2 also appeals to this crowd. It's got a secure chip combined with totally open source firmware so anyone can check the code for themselves, and it even lets you connect directly to your own Bitcoin full node for max privacy. Okay, we've seen offline fortresses and wallets that look like credit cards, but hang on, because this next idea is a total mind bender. What if I told you there's a device that gets its security by never actually storing your private keys in the first place?
I know, it sounds kind of impossible, but that's the whole idea behind the Bitfinox. It doesn't store your keys. Instead, it generates them for just a split second, only when you're making a transaction, using a mix of your password and a secret code. Now, it's a really radical approach, and the source does mention that it can be a bit tricky to use, but the security concept itself is just fascinating.
Phew, okay, so we've seen a ton of different options, from things that look like calculators to credit cards to devices that are completely cut off from the internet. So let's bring it all back together. How do you actually take all this info and pick the right digital guardian for your crypto?
And honestly, this right here is the single most important thing to remember. There is no such thing as the best hardware wallet. It just doesn't exist. The only thing that matters is finding the one that's best for you, the one that fits your priorities, your coins, and your life.
So here's a quick checklist to help you figure it out. First step, security or convenience. Where do you fall on that spectrum? Second, what are your assets? Are you a Bitcoin-only person, or do you need support for thousands of different tokens? Third, think about your lifestyle. Do you need something you can carry in your pocket, or is your crypto just going to sit in a vault? And the final, most important step, do your own research. Use this as your starting point, your map to begin the journey.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Now that you've seen what's out there beyond just the big, famous names, take a really good look at your own setup. Is your crypto being protected by a fortress, a credit card, or maybe something else entirely? I hope this tour helped you get a little closer to finding your answer.
So, you're getting into crypto. It's exciting, but it also comes with a ton of questions. And maybe one of the biggest, most practical ones is this. How many crypto wallets do I actually need? Is it 1? Is it 10? It can feel pretty confusing, but don't worry. We're about to break it all down and give you a super clear, simple answer. Okay, just to give you some perspective, let's start with a wild number. One crypto expert out there has racked up over 40 wallets. Yeah, 40. Now that number sounds insane, right? But it really shows you that the deeper you go into crypto, the more you start to separate things for different purposes and for better security.
But let's be real, you're not there yet. You're just getting your feet wet. So let's cut through the noise and answer the only question that matters for you right now. How many wallets do you really need to get started the right way?
So how on earth does anyone end up with 40+ wallets? Well, when you unpack it, it's not as crazy as it sounds. That number includes a mix of everything: physical hardware wallets for serious long-term savings, a bunch of different online wallets for various exchanges, and even a ton of temporary wallets that were just created for a single transaction over the years. Each one had its own job to do.
To make sense of all this and to figure out what you need, it really all boils down to two main categories. This is probably the first big thing you got to get your head around: the difference between what we call hot wallets and hardware wallets.
First up, you've got your hot wallets. The easiest way to think about these is like your regular everyday spending wallet. You know, the one you keep in your pocket. It's just software on your phone or computer that's always connected to the internet. This makes it super convenient for buying, selling, and making frequent transactions. Think of the wallets on exchanges like Coinbase or Kraken. Those are hot wallets. It's all about speed and convenience.
And on the complete other end of the spectrum, you have hardware wallets. Now think of these like your personal Fort Knox. It's a physical device, kind of like a super secure USB stick, that keeps your private keys, that's the thing that proves you own your crypto, completely offline. It never touches the internet. This makes them incredibly safe for holding onto your crypto for the long term. You'll hear names like Ledger and Trezor thrown around a lot here.
And this really lays it all out. It's the fundamental trade-off in crypto. Hot wallets are online and convenient, great for when you're active. Hardware wallets are offline and secure, which is the absolute gold standard for safely storing your assets. You're basically trading a little bit of that everyday convenience for a massive, massive upgrade in security. Understanding that is everything.
Okay, so you know the difference now. What does that mean for you? What's the actual game plan? Well, this all leads to your perfect starter pack. So forget about 40 wallets. For pretty much any beginner, the magic number is 2. And here it is, plain and simple, your 2-step plan. First, you get yourself a good hot wallet. A free one like blockchain.info is a great place to start. And second, you get a solid hardware wallet like a Ledger or a Trezor. That's it, one for your everyday stuff and one for your savings. Now, the real key is the strategy of how you use them together. You'll use that hot wallet to make your first crypto purchase. And listen, this is super important. You do not let a big balance build up there. As soon as you have an amount that you wouldn't be comfortable losing, you move it over to the safety of your offline hardware wallet. They're meant to work as a team. All right, now for a little bit of wisdom that you can only get from experience. There's a story from that expert we mentioned, the one with 40 wallets, that really shines a light on the right mindset to have when you're just starting out. That expert, their very first crypto purchase was just $100 worth of Bitcoin. That's it. And over time, that small, simple investment grew to be worth over $700. It just goes to show you, you don't have to be a millionaire to get started in this space. But here's the other side of that coin. In those early days, like so many of us, they got excited and chased after all sorts of different new tokens. And they learned a tough lesson. A lot of those flashy new projects turned out to be, well, completely worthless. It's so easy to get distracted. So the huge takeaway here is to focus. Just focus. Learn about one cryptocurrency at a time. And the recommendation is clear. Start with Bitcoin. It's the original, and understanding it gives you a solid foundation for everything else. And please remember, you don't need to buy a whole Bitcoin. You can start small with just a few dollars. This brings us to what is honestly the most critical point of this whole explainer. The problem isn't having 40 wallets or 2 or even 100. The real challenge, the thing you have to get right, is something way more fundamental. See, the issue isn't the number of wallets. It's the nightmare of trying to safely manage all the private keys and passwords that come with them. Because every single wallet has its own keys. And if you lose those keys, your crypto is gone. I mean, poof, gone forever. There's no customer service to call. It's all on you. So how do you handle this huge responsibility? Well, it actually comes down to some really solid, almost old-fashioned methods. For sure, use a password manager for your online accounts. But for your most important private keys, like the ones for your hardware wallet, the best advice is to write them down on a piece of paper. Then, make a couple of copies and store them in different, very safe places, like a safe deposit box or a fireproof safe at home. So in the end, the question isn't just how many wallets. The real question you should be asking is, what am I using this for? Are you a long-term investor just looking to save? Are you an active trader? Are you maybe running a business or accepting donations? Your purpose is what defines your strategy. So as you start out with your first 2 wallets, keep asking yourself that question. What's my goal here? Your answer is what will guide every single decision you make from now on.
All right, so you did it. You finally pulled the trigger. You just dropped $1,000 on some Bitcoin. I mean, how exciting is that? Welcome to the club. But, okay, wait a second. That brand new super secure hardware wallet you ordered? Yeah, it's still in the mail. It could be weeks away. So right now, all that crypto is just sitting there on an exchange in a hot wallet. And you get this little nagging feeling in the back of your head, right? It's a pretty vulnerable spot to be in.
Look, if that sounds even remotely familiar, trust me, you are not alone. This is a classic, super common problem. I think pretty much everyone who gets into crypto goes through this exact same kind of stressful waiting game. And that's why we're doing this explainer. The advice we're going to break down comes directly from someone who's been in that exact spot. So this isn't some abstract theory, It's a real, practical solution born from a real problem. So, yeah, let's get into it. The whole approach is actually super simple. Really easy to remember, and honestly, it's incredibly effective as a temporary fix. We're calling it the split your stash strategy. And the whole idea is summed up perfectly in this one line from the source. The recommendation is basically split your funds between wallets. That's it. It's the classic don't put all your eggs in one basket idea, but for your crypto while you wait.
So let's be super clear about what we mean here. We're talking about wallet diversification. Think of it like a temporary shield. It's not the permanent fortress. That's your hardware wallet. This is just a way to spread out your crypto across a few different online places, to slash your risk until that fortress, actually shows up in your mailbox.
Okay, so the theory sounds great, right? But how do you actually do it? Let's get practical. We're going to walk through a simple playbook, step by step, using that same $1,000 example.
All right, here we go. We've got our $1,000. That's our starting capital. The mission? Turn it into Bitcoin and keep it as safe as humanly possible right now.
Okay, now check this out, because it's actually really simple. Instead of making one big $1,000 purchase, you break it up. First, you buy $500 worth on one exchange. Let's call it Exchange A. Then, right away, you move half of that, so $250, to a totally separate software wallet. Got it? Okay, step 2. You go to a different exchange, say Coinbase, and buy the other $500. And what do you do next? Yep, you move half of that to yet another separate wallet. The whole point is to just use different independent services.
And bam! This is the result. Look at that. Your $1,000 is no longer a single target. It's now split into 4 separate $250 chunks. Each one is in a different digital location. Just like that, you've spread your risk. You've gotten rid of that single point of failure. It's brilliant.
So you might be thinking, okay, that's a few extra steps. Is it really worth it? Oh, yeah. And this next part is where you'll see exactly why it's so worth it.
Because it all boils down to this one kind of scary but really important question. What if one of those wallets gets hacked? Just look at this. The difference is night and day. On the left, you've got the all eggs in one basket approach. If that one wallet gets hit, it's a total loss. $1,000 just gone. Now, look at the right. With the split your stash strategy, sure, a hack on one wallet would sting, no doubt about it, but your loss is capped at $250. You've saved $750. You've protected 75% of your capital, you're still in the game. It's a huge difference.
Okay, so this strategy is clearly a lifesaver in the short term. But, and this is really important, we can't lose sight of the real endgame here. You have to remember this. This whole thing, it's a temporary shield. It's a band-aid. It's the bridge that gets you safely from the moment you buy to the moment your hardware wallet arrives. It is not the final destination.
So let's be crystal clear on this. What is this strategy good for? Well, it's way better than leaving everything in one place, and it's definitely better than just sitting there worrying for weeks on end. But what is it not for? It's not for long-term storage, and it's not for, active day traders. They have a completely different set of needs.
And that brings us to the grand finale, the final, most important step of all. The day that beautiful little hardware wallet shows up at your door, your mission is simple: consolidate. You're going to take all 4 of those 250 chunks from their separate wallets and move them all onto your new super secure device. That is the endgame. That's the fortress. So there you have it. Splitting your stash is an awesome move for some short-term peace of mind. But it does leave us with one last big question you should be asking yourself. You're covered for now, but what's your long-term security plan going to look like?
Okay, so you did the right thing. You moved your Bitcoin off the exchange and onto a hardware wallet. You're feeling pretty good, pretty secure, right? Well, today we're going to poke a few holes in that feeling of security and talk about a strategy that will truly protect your investment. So let's get into it and understand what's really at stake here.
First up, to really get why this stuff is so important, let's just set the scene. We're going to use a simple little scenario, but honestly, the principle we're talking about, it applies to anyone who's serious about holding onto their Bitcoin for the long haul.
All right, just imagine for a second. You've worked hard, You saved up, you invested smart, and now you own 2 whole Bitcoins.
And hey, if that's actually you, I mean, seriously, congratulations. Owning even one full Bitcoin puts you in a very, very small club of people. You might not feel rich right the second, but once you see the numbers, you'll understand why protecting that asset is absolutely everything.
Now, this is what's so wild. Take a look at these numbers. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, period. Compare that to a world population that's heading towards 8 billion people. The math is just simple. Most people on this planet will never, ever own a whole coin. And that scarcity, right there, is exactly what makes it so valuable and so critical to protect. And because it's so scarce, here's your first big takeaway. Keep your holdings to yourself. Be quiet about it. You wouldn't go around telling everyone you've got a bunch of gold bars stashed in your basement, would you? The exact same logic applies here.
Okay, so you've got this super valuable asset, and you're not telling anyone about it. You've locked it up on a hardware wallet. But this is where we find a huge, and I mean huge, risk that most people just completely overlook.
So really think about this. You have those 2 Bitcoins, your entire stash, sitting on one little device. Does that really feel 100% secure to you? If you're hesitating even a little bit, you're right to.
Because if you do that, you've accidentally created what we call a single point of failure. Yeah, your hardware wallet is basically a high-tech vault, no doubt. But what happens if a hacker finds a bug in that specific model? Or what if there's some kind of sophisticated attack that compromises a whole batch of those devices before you even get it? You see, even the world's strongest vault is a massive risk if it's the only thing protecting everything you own.
So how do we fix this? What's the move to get rid of that single point of failure? Well, the answer is a really simple but incredibly effective idea: diversification. Wallet diversification is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's the classic advice: don't put all your eggs in one basket. You're just spreading your Bitcoin across several different hardware wallets. And, this is the important part, from different companies.
And this is why it's so brilliant. Just imagine some hacker figures out a way to break into one specific brand of wallet. If all your crypto is on that wallet, you're wiped out. It's all gone. But if you're diversified, maybe you only lose what's on that one device. You've contained the damage. It's a disaster, but it's not a total catastrophe.
Okay, so that's the big idea. Now let's get practical and see what this actually looks like with our 2 Bitcoin example. This chart just lays it out perfectly. A good plan? Take your 2 Bitcoin, get 2 wallets from 2 different companies like a Ledger and a Trezor, and put 1 Bitcoin on each. That's good. But a better plan? That takes it to the next level. You could get 4 wallets from, say, 3 different vendors and put half a Bitcoin on each. See how you're spreading that risk out even further? It's a huge difference. Now, you might be wondering which companies to go with. The source material mentioned a few of the big players: Ledger, Trezor, and KeepKey. It's worth noting this info was from the end of 2020. The market's always changing, of course, but these are still trusted names, and mixing a few of them is a fantastic way to start building your diversified setup. And listen, this is so important. You do not need to be a Bitcoin whale for any of this to matter. This whole principle works whether you have 2 Bitcoin or just $1,000 worth of crypto. It's all about building smart security habits to protect what's yours, no matter how much it is. All right, we have covered a lot of ground, so let's just boil it all down into a super clear, simple security blueprint that you can start using right now. So here it is, your action plan. Number 1, and this is the big one: do not put everything on one hardware wallet. Number 2, go a step further and use multiple wallets from different companies. 3, just remember the basic rule: the more you spread it out, the lower your risk. And finally, number 4, this is for everybody, no matter how much you're holding. And that really brings us to the final question to leave you with. If you follow these steps, you've definitely made your investment safer against the threats that we know about today. But looking ahead, is your setup truly future-proof? How are you going to keep adapting to stay secure? That's the question every serious investor needs to be thinking about. Thanks for tuning in. So you've got some Bitcoin, but have you ever really thought about how to keep it safe? Like truly safe for the long haul? Well, this is the explainer for you. We're going to walk through step by step how to move your crypto from an online hot wallet into the digital equivalent of Fort Knox, cold storage. Let's dive right in. But first, let me ask you something.
if your Bitcoin is just sitting on an exchange or in an app on your phone right now, is it really as safe as you think it is? I mean, those things are always connected to the internet. That makes them convenient, for sure, but it also makes them a target. That's exactly what we're here to fix. Okay, here's our game plan. First up, we'll get into the why of it all, the huge difference between hot and cold wallets. Then, we'll do a super quick look at where it all starts, buying some Bitcoin. After that, we hit the main event, the transfer itself. We'll also cover how to make sure your transaction went through so you're not sweating it out, and we'll wrap up by looking at the awesome results of all this, you in total control of your own assets.
All right, let's kick things off with the most important question. Why are we even doing all this? It really all comes down to one thing: understanding the fundamental, and I mean critical, difference between a hot wallet and a cold wallet. The easiest way to think about it is this. A hot wallet is basically your checking account. It's online, it's super convenient for your day-to-day spending, but you wouldn't keep your entire life savings in it, right? A cold wallet, on the other hand, is completely disconnected from the internet. It's your personal bank vault. It's built for one thing: keeping your crypto locked down, secure, and safe for the long term, completely out of reach from any online threats.
So, now that we know why a cold wallet is so crucial, let's quickly touch on the starting point. I mean, before you can lock your Bitcoin up in a vault, you've got to own some first. And that almost always starts in a hot wallet. Now look, every platform, every exchange is going to look a little bit different, but the basic process is pretty much always this simple. You find the buy button, you type in how much you want to spend, you check the price they're giving you, and you hit confirm. Just like that, you've got Bitcoin sitting in your online hot wallet. And that means it's ready for the really important part, moving it to safety. And here we go. This brings us to the main event, Section 3. This is where the magic happens. We are officially taking our Bitcoin out of that checking account and moving it into our personal bank vault. Okay, before we start clicking any buttons, there's one super important term we gotta understand: the public address. This is your cold wallet's unique address for receiving funds. You can think of it exactly like a bank account number. It's the information you give to someone when you want them to send you money. It is perfectly 100% safe to share this with anyone. Okay, let's walk through this together, step by step. In your hot wallet, the place you're sending from, you're going to click Send. Then you'll grab your separate cold wallet device and find the Receive option. That's going to show you its public address. You need to copy that whole long string of characters. Then, back in your hot wallet, you paste that address into the destination field. Finally, type in how much you want to send, and be careful here because some wallets will default to sending everything you've got. And then you click Continue.
Okay, stop. We are now at the final confirmation screen. I really need you to pay attention here because what comes next is, without a doubt, the single most important step in this whole process. Here it is. Before you hit that final send button, you must verify the address. These public addresses are a crazy long jumble of letters and numbers. The best, safest practice is to manually check that the first 3 characters and the last 3 characters you see on your screen match the address that is physically displayed on your cold wallet device. This simple little check is what saves you from a total disaster. Don't skip it.
Phew. Okay, you've hit send, you've double-checked, and now we wait. We've just entered Section 4, the waiting game. And this is the part where a lot of people, especially beginners, start to feel just a little bit anxious. But trust me, it is totally normal.
So, you're probably looking at your cold wallet and thinking, where is it? You might refresh it and see nothing. It can be a little scary, I get it, but I promise you, your funds are not gone. They're just making their way across the blockchain.
So why the delay? Well, it's all about how the Bitcoin network actually works. All the transactions are grouped together into these things called blocks, and each block has to be verified by the whole network. On average, it takes about 10 minutes for a new block to get confirmed. That's when your transaction gets its first official stamp of approval. This timeline kind of breaks it down. In a perfect world, your transaction gets into the very next block, and boom, in about 10 minutes, you see it's confirmed. But hey, if the network's having a busy day, it might have to wait for the second block or maybe even the third. So really, don't panic if it says unconfirmed for 20 or even 35 minutes. It's just waiting in line to get validated. And then it happens. That first confirmation pops up. You can finally take a breath. You did it. And that brings us to the best part, the payoff. You are now truly 100% in control of your own Bitcoin. So a huge congratulations is in order. What you've just done is given yourself full control over your money. It's now protected from hackers, exchange failures, you name it. That's real peace of mind. And the best part? You now have the skill to do this. Sending funds back out of your cold wallet is basically the same process, just in reverse.
And that's really the key takeaway here, isn't it? It might seem intimidating or complicated the first time you do it, but honestly, the whole process is actually very simple once you get the hang of it. You've just mastered a fundamental skill for being your own bank.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. You've taken a massive step. You've basically built your own personal Fort Knox for your digital assets. The vault is locked and secure. So the real question is, what part of this fascinating world are you going to explore next?
All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about something absolutely fundamental if you own any crypto, your wallet. We're going to dig into this constant battle between making things easy and keeping things safe, and really figure out if your crypto is as secure as you think it is.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Your crypto is probably right there on your phone. You can access it in a heartbeat. And that's awesome, right? But is that convenience maybe hiding a pretty serious risk? That's the big question we need to answer. Is it really safe?
So first, let's talk about something I like to call the convenience trap. It's this idea that the very things that make your wallet so simple and so fast to use could actually be its greatest downfall.
And you know, it's so easy to see why we fall for this trap. I mean, hot wallets, we're talking about the apps on your phone or computer, they're just fantastic. You can set one up in minutes, and they're usually free. You see a dip in the market, boom, you can buy. The price moons, you can sell just as fast. And you can hold all your different coins in one spot. It's all just there.
Okay, but here's the catch, and it's a big one. All that convenience, all that speed, it comes at a price. And that price is your security. You're basically leaving the door wide open because the most important part of your crypto is always connected to the internet.
All right, so this leads us right into the big showdown, the classic battle of hot wallets versus cold wallets. Let's really break down the difference.
And just look at this. The difference is night and day. When it comes to security, hardware wallets win, hands down. Why? Because your keys, the things that control your crypto, are kept completely offline. Hot wallets, on the other hand, keep those keys online, making them a juicy target. But then you flip it, and for pure convenience, hot wallets are king. Instant access. Hardware wallets? Well, you gotta plug the device in. So here's the bottom line. Hot wallets are for trading and spending. Hardware wallets are for storing.
So what's the magic here? How does this little offline fortress actually work? I mean, what makes a little plastic device so much safer than some slick, well-designed app? Well, it all boils down to one single critical thing.
And this is it, the private key. This is the most important thing to get. It's not just some password. It is literal proof that you own your crypto. Whoever has this key owns the coins. Full stop. It's the one thing you have to protect no matter what. And this is the weak spot for any hot wallet. That critical private key, it's sitting on a device that's hooked up to the internet 24/7. That means a hacker somewhere out there could potentially find a way in and snatch it.
Now, here's where the hardware wallet is just brilliant. Your private key isn't just stored offline, it's actually created offline on the device itself. From the second it exists, it has never ever been connected to the internet, and online hackers simply can't get to it. There's no path.
So this offline advantage is just huge. You're basically immune to hackers and malware trying to steal your keys online. And what if someone physically steals the device? It's just a paperweight without your PIN code. And the best part? If you lose it or it breaks, no big deal. You use your special backup, that seed phrase, on a new device, and presto. All your funds are right back where they should be.
You know, all of this really points to a bigger idea, a shift in how we need to think. It's about going from being just a user of crypto to being a truly responsible owner. At the end of the day, it's your money, and protecting it is your job.
I bet we all have a friend like this, right? Someone sitting on a decent chunk of change who just can't be bothered. And hey, maybe they'll be fine. Maybe they'll never get hacked. But as this quote says, with that much at stake, why on earth would you take that gamble? It just doesn't make sense.
So look, if you only remember one thing from all of this, make it this simple rule right here. Your hot wallet is for transacting. It's like the cash you keep in your actual wallet for spending. Your hardware wallet is for storing. That's your bank vault for the serious money you don't want to lose. Let's just put it in real-world terms.
Imagine you had 5 grand worth of anything, stocks, gold, whatever. Would you even hesitate to spend a couple $100 on a high-quality safe to protect it? Of course not. It's not an expense, it's an investment in not losing everything. It's peace of mind.
And this, right here, is the core idea of self-custody. When you hold your own keys, you're not trusting a bank or anyone else. You are the bank. That is an incredibly powerful thing. But with that power comes the very real responsibility to act like a bank. And that means making security your #1 priority.
So I'll just leave you with this. It's really that simple. You would never, ever leave your physical wallet just sitting on a park bench and walk away. So why would you treat your crypto, your digital wealth, any differently? It's time we all start thinking about our digital assets with that same basic common sense.
So, if you're into crypto, you know the drill, right? Buying and selling on an exchange is super easy. A few clicks and boom, you're in the game. But, and this is a big but, there's this hidden risk lurking behind all that convenience. A really, really costly one that's been a huge part of the crypto story for the last decade. So yeah, let's get into this wild history of digital heists.
Yeah, $300 million. And get this, that's probably a lowball estimate. We're talking about the cash stolen from just a few of the biggest exchange hacks in the last 10 years. This isn't some freak accident, you know, it's a pattern.
Which of course brings us to the big question we're tackling today. Is your crypto really safe on an exchange? I mean, when you leave your assets there, are they still yours? And maybe more importantly, can you sleep at night knowing they're secure?
All right, here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll start with why these exchanges are such juicy targets for hackers. Then, we'll take a trip down memory lane to the epic collapse of Mt. Gox and the decade of heists that came after. But stick around, because the most important part is at the end. We're talking about the golden rule of crypto and, how you can actually keep your stuff safe.
So why does this keep happening over and over again? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Think about it. Centralized exchanges are basically digital Fort Knoxes. They hold billions and billions of dollars in user funds, all piled up in one place. For a hacker, that's not just a target, it's the ultimate honeypot. It's this one single point of failure with a payday that's just massive. It's irresistible. And the weak link in the chain? It's almost always something called a hot wallet. Now, when you keep your crypto on an exchange, that's where it lives. It's a wallet that's connected to the internet 24/7, right? That's what makes trading so fast and easy. But that convenience comes at a price. It means your private keys, and that's literally the password to all your money, are constantly online, constantly exposed to any threat out there.
Okay, to really get a sense of just how bad things can go, we have to rewind the clock. We have to talk about Mt. Gox. It's the OG crypto disaster story, the original and still the most infamous cautionary tale in the entire space.
Now, this is what's so wild about the Mt. Gox story. It wasn't some sudden, explosive event. Everyone thinks it all came crashing down in 2014, right? Wrong. The first breach happened way back in 2011. For 3 years, hackers were just slowly, quietly siphoning funds out of the exchange's hot wallet. And nobody had a clue.
And this just shows you the sheer scale we're talking about. I mean, 80%. Right before it imploded, Mt. Gox was handling 80% of all Bitcoin trading on the planet. It wasn't just an exchange, it was the exchange. Pretty much everyone in the game had skin in it. Talk about a single point of failure.
So what was the final damage?
A mind-blowing 850,000 Bitcoin. Just gone. Poof. That was 750,000 from customers like you and me, plus another 100,000 of the company's own stash. It was an absolutely catastrophic loss that sent shockwaves through the entire industry. I mean, it almost killed crypto right then and there.
Now, you'd think after a disaster of that magnitude, the world would learn its lesson, right? Well, not exactly. The fall of Mt. Gox wasn't a one-off. It was just the opening act in a long, brutal drama of hacks that's been playing out for over a decade. Let's see what happened next.
Okay, let's jump forward a couple of years to 2016. The next big name to get hit? Bitfinex, another one of the biggest exchanges on the block at the time.
This time, the hackers snagged 120,000 Bitcoin, worth about $70 million back then. But what happened next was, well, it was a whole new kind of crazy. Instead of just folding, Bitfinex socialized the loss. They spread the 36% haircut across all their users. They even gave out these debt tokens to try and make people whole.
It was super controversial, and it showed us a brand new risk. Hey, even if your funds don't get stolen, you could still end up paying for it.
And it's not just the older exchanges. Even the giants, the ones that seem bulletproof, are vulnerable. Case in point, 2019. The target? The world's biggest exchange, Binance.
This hack saw 7,000 Bitcoin walk out the door. That's $40 million. But honestly, that's not even the scariest part. The attackers also grabbed the personal ID data, the KYC stuff, for over 60,000 users. It was a brutal reminder that it's not just your money on the line, it's your identity too.
And then you have exchanges that just seem to have a permanent target painted on their backs. The South Korean exchange Bithum is a perfect and painful example of a platform that just kept getting hit.
Yeah, 3. In just 2 years, Bithum got hacked 3 separate times. We're talking tens of millions in losses. And one of those hacks, it was suspected to be an inside job, which brings up a whole other can of worms.
And that's a really key point, right? These attacks aren't just one thing. Hackers have a whole playbook. You've got inside jobs, you've got classic phishing and malware attacks, you've even got state-sponsored hacking groups getting in on the action. And then there are the exit scams, where you suspect the exchange owners themselves just ran off with the money. Trying to defend against all of that, when you're a giant, centralized honeypot, it's an almost impossible task.
So, after wading through this painful history of digital theft, one lesson just screams out louder than all the others. It's a lesson that's become the absolute golden rule for anyone who's serious about this stuff.
If you don't own your private keys, you don't own your Bitcoins. I'm going to see that again. If you don't own your private keys, you don't own your Bitcoins. Just let that sink in for a second. When your crypto is sitting on an exchange, they hold the keys. You are putting all of your trust in a third party that has been a target and has been breached time and time and time again.
Okay, so that's the problem. And yeah, it's pretty scary stuff. But here's the good news. There is a solution, a really clear and effective one. So let's talk about how you can actually take back control and lock down your assets for good. And that solution really comes down to understanding the difference between a hot wallet and a cold wallet. So, like we've said, the hot wallet on an exchange is always online, and the exchange controls your keys. A cold wallet, which is usually a little hardware device, is the total opposite. It keeps your keys completely offline. It creates what we call an air gap between your money and the internet. A hacker on the other side of the world simply cannot touch something that isn't connected. The risk totally shifts. It goes from worrying about a million hackers to just you being responsible for one little physical device. For holding your crypto long term, it is without a doubt a whole different universe of security.
So how do you do it? How do you make the switch? It's actually a pretty simple 3-step process to what we call self-custody, to true ownership. Step 1, just acknowledge the risks. Really internalize the fact that funds on an exchange are more like an IOU than actual property. Step 2, get yourself a hardware wallet from a reputable company. Think of it as your own personal digital vault. And finally, step 3, the most important step, take control. Move your crypto off the exchange and into your new wallet. Just like that, you become your own bank.
And really, that's what it all comes down to. After walking through this entire decade of digital heists, from the smoking rubble of Mt. Gox all the way to today, the final question is pretty simple, isn't it? Who are you going to trust to hold your keys? A centralized target that's proven to be vulnerable over and over again, or yourself?
If you're into crypto, you know that feeling, right? That little knot in your stomach when you're moving your assets around. And you know the bigger your portfolio gets, the bigger that knot of anxiety can get. That's because the scams targeting people like us are getting scarily smart. So let's pull back the curtain, look at their playbook, and build you a rock-solid defense.
Okay, we're not going to waste any time. We're diving straight into a real-world threat, one that's probably hitting someone's phone as we speak.
So, does this look familiar? It should. This is a real scam text message. Just look at the language they use. Alert, critical bug, risk of losing assets. It's all engineered to make your heart pound, to kick up this wave of panic, so you'll click their shady link before you even have a second to think straight.
And this, right here, is what you've got to understand. The game has changed. This isn't some simple smash and grab anymore. Today's crypto thief is a master of digital disguise, and they are constantly sharpening their traps. So staying safe, it's not a one-and-done thing. It's something you have to practice all the time.
To beat them, we have to get inside their heads. We need to understand their most common moves.
So these are the big three, the main pillars of almost every attack, and you'll see them everywhere, popping up in your texts, your emails, all over social media, and yep, even at the very top of your Google search results. Let's break them down.
This is their masterpiece of deception. Scammers will create a perfect clone of the official Ledger or Trezor website. I'm talking the logo, the colors, the fonts, everything looks 100% legit. It gives you this false sense of security, making you think you're in a safe place when really you just walked into the lion's den.
Now check out how sneaky this gets. This is something called a man-in-the-middle attack. So imagine this. You copy the right crypto address, you're ready to send your funds. But a malicious little browser extension, maybe disguised as a price checker or something, sees you do that. And in that split second between copy and paste, it swaps your address with the hackers. You think you're sending crypto to yourself, but poof, it's gone.
Oh yeah, you've definitely seen these. A fake live stream on YouTube or Facebook, often with a celebrity's face on it, promising some absolutely insane giveaway. This is all about weaponizing FOMO, the fear of missing out, to basically shut down your brain's logic center. The whole point is to rush you over to their phishing site to verify your wallet and claim a prize that was never real to begin with.
And once they get you on their site, this is their secret weapon, a big, scary countdown timer. This thing creates so much psychological pressure. You're so focused on that clock ticking down, so afraid you're going to miss out, that you just blast through the steps, ignoring all the giant red flags and handing over your precious info without a single second thought. Okay, so we've seen their playbook, right? The fake websites, the sneaky apps, the urgent giveaways. But here's the thing. All these different tricks, they all lead to one place. They are all after the exact same thing.
So what is it? What's the one piece of information that unlocks everything for these hackers?
It's your 24-word recovery phrase. And let's be crystal clear, this is not just some password. It is the master key to your entire crypto kingdom. If a scammer gets their hands on these words, they don't need your device, they don't need your PIN, nothing. They have total, absolute, and irreversible control of all your funds.
And here it is, the single most important fact you need to burn into your brain. Ledger, Trezor, any legitimate company you can think of will never, ever, under any circumstances, ask you for your 24-word recovery phrase. Not for a software update, not to enter a giveaway, not for customer support. Never.
Knowing that fact, well, that's the foundation of your defense. So now let's build up the walls with a few simple, unbreakable rules.
This slide really just says it all, doesn't it? Scammers will try to trick you into thinking they need your recovery phrase to send you crypto. That is a flat-out lie. The only thing anyone ever needs to send you crypto is your public address. Think of it like your bank account number. It's totally safe to share. Your recovery phrase is not.
So, let's make these habits second nature. Instead of clicking a link you get in an email, physically type the official web address into your browser yourself. From now on, you should be automatically suspicious of any request for your phrase. Keep your software updated, but only through the official app. And maybe most important of all, slow down. Just take a breath and read every message carefully before you act.
If you forget everything else we talked about today, please remember this. Your recovery phrase belongs in one place, and one place only. You physically type it into your actual hardware wallet device using its little buttons. Not on a website, not in a mobile app, not in a browser extension. Nowhere else. Period.
All right. Now, I truly hope you never ever need this next piece of information, but it's absolutely critical to know what to do if the worst happens and your security gets compromised.
If you realize that you've been the victim of a scam, the very first official step you need to take is to file a police report. This is a crime, plain and simple, and you have to report it to the authorities right away.
And that really leaves us with this final thought. A hardware wallet? It's an amazing piece of technology, but it isn't some magic shield. The ultimate layer of security isn't the device that you hold in your hand. It's the disciplined, vigilant, and maybe even slightly paranoid mindset you bring to protecting your assets every single day.
So you've done the smart thing. You got yourself a hardware wallet to keep your crypto safe, and you're feeling pretty good about it, right? Well, today, we're going to talk about a hidden threat, one that sneaks right past your wallet's defenses. It goes after the one thing your wallet has zero control over, the computer you plug it into.
First, let me ask you something. With all the crazy, complex hacks we hear about in the news, What do you think is the most common way people actually lose their crypto? You might be thinking of some super sophisticated, high-tech breach, but the real answer? It's surprisingly, and kind of painfully, simple. That's it, a simple mistake. Sending your hard-earned assets to the wrong address. It's a classic human error, and we all know in crypto, there's no undo button. We've all had that heart-stopping moment of panic, right? Double and triple checking that address. And this is the really scary part, that fear. Hackers are now using it against you.
I mean, just think about it. What if that wrong address you just sent everything to wasn't your mistake at all? What if a thief put it there, right under your nose, without you ever noticing? This is where a simple slip-up turns into a very deliberate attack.
So, let's pull back the curtain and meet our villain, the man-in-the-middle attack, or MITM for short. Now, this isn't about some hacker trying to smash through your wallet's defenses. No, this is way more clever. It's a stealthy trick that happens on your own computer, and it turns your trusted clipboard into a secret weapon against you.
So, what's actually going on here? Well, a man-in-the-middle attack is basically when a hacker secretly wedges themselves between you and whatever you're trying to do. In the crypto world, this means they jump in right between your brain saying, "Send money here," and the transaction actually happening. And they do it by infecting your computer with a piece of malware that just sits there and waits. Okay, so let's break down exactly how this digital heist goes down. It's a 4-step deception that is so slick, so seamless, you'd never even know what was happening until it's way, way too late.
So, it starts with step 1. Your computer gets infected with malware. This could be from a sketchy download, a phishing email, you name it. The malware sits silently, waiting for its moment. Then, step 2, you go to make a transaction. You do everything right. You find the correct crypto address, and you hit copy. But here's the magic trick. That's step 3. In that tiny fraction of a second between copy and paste, the malware instantly detects that crypto address, and bam, it swaps it with the hacker's address. So when you get to step 4, you hit paste, thinking it's the right one, and just like that, you've pasted the thief's address. You hit confirm, and your funds are gone. Okay, that sounds terrifying, I know. But the good news is, you are not helpless here. The power to stop this attack is completely in your hands. So let's walk through your 4-step defense plan to lock this down for good.
All right, first up, digital hygiene. The absolute best defense is to have a clean machine. Ideally, a computer that you only use for crypto transactions, nothing else. No random web surfing, no email, no downloads. Second, run a good, reputable antivirus program and please keep it updated. Third, treat your hardware wallet like it's cash. When you're done using it, unplug it. Don't just leave it connected. And finally, the most important habit of all,
out of everything we just talked about, there is one single critical action that will stop this attack cold in its tracks every single time. It takes maybe 5 seconds, and it can literally save you everything. So, what is it?
This is it. Always, always, always double-check the address you just pasted before you hit that confirm button. You don't have to read the whole crazy string of characters. Just check the first 3 or 4, and the last 3 or 4. The malware is clever, but it's almost impossible for it to generate an address that matches both the beginning and the end of the one you copied. This simple glance is your ultimate safety net.
Okay, but what if you do that check and, the address doesn't match? You've just caught the malware red-handed. Your immediate reaction should be one thing and one thing only. Disconnect your hardware wallet from the computer, right now. Don't try to fix anything. Your machine is compromised. Get your vault away from the danger zone fast.
And this really gets to the heart of the problem. Your hardware wallet, it's a fortress. It's a secure element specifically designed to protect your keys. But your computer, that's the weakest link. It's the bridge that connects your fortress to the outside world. And if that bridge is rigged by a hacker, it doesn't matter how strong the walls of your fortress are. The attack happens on the way there.
So let's wrap up with this final thought. Your hardware wallet is like the most secure bank vault on the planet. But its protection is only as good as the process you follow when you open the door. Your computer and your habits. That's the real key here. So you have to ask yourself, is the door to your vault truly locked?